Tien asks if Dazu is actually a guy while holding a sword. The emphasis is on the question of Dazu's identity, with the sound effect of Tien nodding his head for confirmation. Tien thinks about Dazu's age, pondering the question while pinching the bridge of his nose as if trying to recall something. Kiki, with a thoughtful demeanor, begins to say something, indicating that she is considering the answer to Tien's question. Kiki humorously gestures to indicate Dazu's size, suggesting he is big enough not to fit in a carriage. The scene shifts outside, showing the carriage with puffs of clouds, as someone checks if the second brother, presumably Tien, is alright. The mansion of Wan Yuan Wei is shown with its name prominently displayed, setting up the location for the upcoming events. Kiki looks around curiously from a window, wondering why there's so much noise in the vicinity. Two attendees discuss the young master's birthday celebration, wondering if the palace is also coming to congratulate them. Tien chides Kiki for coming empty-handed to a friend's birthday, reminding her about social expectations. Tien explains that today is Dazu's birthday as they stand outside. He insists that arriving without a gift is improper, especially for a representative of the royal family. Tien offers a delicate ornament to Kiki as a gift suggestion, which leaves her a bit surprised at the gesture. Tien tells Kiki that since she came unprepared, he's saving her face by providing the ornament and expects her to repay the favor in the future. A man greets the prince and princess, expressing what an honor it is for them to attend his son's birthday celebration. Tien clarifies that he was simply there to accompany Kiki, mentioning his plan to return now that he's fulfilled his duty. As Kiki walks away, Tien waves goodbye, indicating the end of their interaction for now. Kiki reflects that Tien doesn't seem as menacing as depicted in a book, pondering her impression of him. A cheerful Dazu welcomes Kiki, insisting that she join him inside as today is a special occasion, Cowherd's Day. Kiki realizes it's Dazu's birthday and ailment's not bringing anything, but he reassures her that her presence is enough. Dazu feels the gift from Tien is too precious to accept, showing his apprehension in accepting such an extravagant item. Dazu laughs it off, glad to be inside together with Kiki, and asks if she's angry, to which she denies, cheerful once again. Kiki jokingly mentions she'll punish Dazu by making him notify her about his birthdays in advance from now on. Dazu teases Kiki about being his only friend, walking playfully while holding her hand, expressing their friendship's significance. Nearby, two adults observe Dazu's happiness and comment on his past lack of friends and the pleasant change brought by having a princess as a friend. The sight of the royal family's carriage shocks onlookers, creating a sense of urgency and surprise among them. Two people, concerned and curious, discuss Kimi's whereabouts, intent on finding her. A guide politely welcomes the newcomers, leading them inside and showing them the way with a gesture. The royal couple smiles and agrees to be led inside, anticipating their interaction with the rest of the gathering. Overwhelmed, a servant wonders aloud about the gravity of the situation, struggling to comprehend the royal visit to such a modest place. Outside the mansion, someone calls out to their siblings, desperately seeking attention or help. Struggling between Tien and another, Kiki humorously pleads to finish her meal, caught in a playful scuffle between the two. Exa asks Kiki to attend the Temple of Literature to learn horse riding and archery, mentioning that Tofu is upset because Kiki skipped half a day. Kiki reacts with surprise, realizing that she forgot about her class. Exa raises her hand in frustration towards Kiki, questioning her memory, while a whisper points out that they didn't remind her. A male figure grabs Exa's hand, stopping her from hitting Kiki, causing Exa to look questioningly. The male character warns that hitting Kiki might make her dumber, retracting his grip. Exa accuses the male character of having a soft spot for Kiki and questions his intentions with a knowing smile. Exa challenges the male character, suspecting that he thinks he's the only one who cares about Kiki, while Kiki is positioned between them. Kiki speaks up to stop the argument and takes responsibility, promising not to skip classes anymore. Kiki whispers to Exa, clarifying about her facade, while a hint of embarrassment affects Exa. A carriage moves swiftly under Kiki's urging, as she wishes to avoid further conflict, urging the driver to speed up. The scene shifts to a wide view of a martial arts ring, highlighting areas for archery. Kiki admires Exa's archery skills as she hits the bullseye, clapping enthusiastically. Exa comments on her ease with archery, boasting about her skills with a closed-eye technique, while another character notes her humility. A crowd admires Prince Song's presence at the martial arts ring, questioning his reasons for being there. Kiki recognizes Song Yu-cheng and the person next to him, revealing a sense of recognition and intrigue. Jan Dian, introduced as Song Yu-cheng's childhood friend, is noted to be sitting nearby, adding to Kiki's thoughts. Kiki feels anxious, foreseeing that her third sister could be in danger due to unfolding events. Kiki offers water to Brother Cheng, showing concern towards his well-being. Brother Cheng walks past, gently acknowledging Kiki's gesture, which catches her attention. Wei Exe wonders if someone is heading towards her direction, expressing curiosity and a hint of anticipation. Wei Exe quickly fixes her hair and reassures herself about her appearance, while Kiki offers her support. Wei Exe questions someone's intention, trying to understand why they approached her. The focus shifts to Brother Cheng, who states he is looking for someone, causing confusion among the group. Brother Cheng directs Kiki to speak privately, but Kiki hesitates. Brother Cheng openly admits his past mistake, apologizing to Kiki, aiming for resolution. Characters express confusion regarding Brother Cheng's actions, exchanging glances to understand the situation. Kiki graciously dismisses the need for an apology, attributing it to her forgetfulness and youth, showing maturity. Brother Cheng acknowledges Kiki's cuteness, sharing an internal monologue about potential future power dynamics. Brother Cheng reflects on the third princess's characteristics, noting an imbalance in imperial favor compared to Princess Kai. Brother Cheng contemplates the potential benefits of enduring temporary discomfort for promised luxury and power. Yu Cheng offers a new tea made from summer lotus flowers to Kiki, suggesting she tries it. Liu Ji intervenes, locking the tea, saying that Kiki doesn't like it. Kiki seems to refer to Liu Ji, possibly confused or surprised. Liu Ji explains that although the sixth prince is Princess Ki's brother, he isn't overly concerned about her. Yu Cheng questions if Liu Ji wants to stop Kiki from making friends. Liu Ji dismisses Yu Cheng, implying he isn't worthy of friendship. Yu Cheng, feeling underestimated, insists he is also a prince and questions why Liu Ji looks down on him. Liu Ji advises judging by actions, not words, and questions Yu Cheng's intentions towards Kiki. Liu Ji hints that Yu Cheng might hope he spreads some news. Yu Cheng realizes Liu Ji is aware of his intentional approach towards Princess Ki, questioning the situation given a possible connection to a previous dynasty. Yu Cheng admits he overstepped, asking for forgiveness before deciding to leave, reflecting on acting wisely when Liu Ji isn't present. Kiki questions Yu Cheng's departure, while a voice suggests Yu Cheng is someone who will stop at nothing for power. Liu Ji follows up with Kiki, asking how else she would want a situation to be. Kiki, confused but somewhat amused, wonders about the contents of a box she received, thinking it might be ice cream. Liu Ji clarifies that it's frozen sugar cane juice cubes, which Kiki finds tasty. Kiki thanks Liu Ji for coming along just to give her the treat, and Liu Ji explains he accompanied He Jing. Kiki recalls He Jing, realizing she forgot about her third sister. She worries about Song Yu-cheng affecting the situation. Liu Ji stops Kiki, suggesting it's not time to leave yet. Liu Ji directs Kiki's attention to something nearby. Two characters, Xiao Jingzi and another, enjoy a peaceful moment, fanning each other. Kiki acknowledges the scene but decides not to disturb them, opting for a walk in the garden with Liu Ji. Kiki and Liu Ji continue their walk toward the Temple of Literature's flower. A character, possibly related to Yu Cheng, wipes tears, perplexed by his behavior and suspecting Princess Ki of influence. The character resolves to reveal Kiki's true nature due to her sway at such a young age. Liu Ji informs Kiki about Yijiao's return to court. Kiki confirms the news about her father's return. Liu Ji advises Kiki to speak quietly, revealing Yijiao was secretly escorted back. Kiki wonders if her father is injured and maintaining a low profile purposefully. Liu Ji confirms the ambush during a desert mission, resulting in casualties, and suggests Kiki's father is seriously hurt. Kiki becomes determined to visit her father despite the urgency from Liu Ji. Liu Ji questions Kiki's dedication, asking if her father is that important to her. Kei is running through a grassy field, being approached by someone who wants to talk privately. She continues moving fast, with urgency in her step. Kei listens intently as the person mentions wanting to talk about Brother Cheng. Her expression shows concentration as she absorbs the information. Ki shoves the other person aside, indicating she's in a hurry and requesting not to be interrupted. The person appears puzzled and surprised as Kai hastily moves past them. She ignores their confusion and continues on her path. The person sits on the grass, questioning why Ki pushed them, mentioning lack of resentment between them. Kai, still determined, insists they can't leave before showing Brother Chang how she was treated. Her expression reveals annoyance. Ki decides to embrace the role of a villain if accused of wrongdoing. She stands confidently and determines her course of action. The conversation escalates, with Kay leading a chase. The other person expresses disbelief about Kay's actions. The person ends up in a shallow pond, crying for help. Ki advises them to submerge their head underwater to avoid drowning, hinting at her tolerance limit. A tall figure arrives, instructing Ki that she can lead the situation to them. Kai acknowledges the assistance provided. Ki reflects on Liu Ji's words, noting the innocence of the other person, who is much younger. Liu Ji assures Ki that they will handle the situation properly. He places a reassuring hand on her head as a gesture of understanding. The scene shifts to evening at Yi Jio's bedroom, setting a transitional tone for upcoming events. Two officials discuss the potential need to inform Princess Ki about a pressing matter, raising concerns about possible consequences. Ki rushes toward a grand building, appearing worried and hurried. Her determination remains evident. Ki inquires anxiously about her father's condition, directly confronting the two officials standing at the entrance. Determined to see her father, Ki pleads with one of the officials, questioning the strangeness of the situation. Ki, filled with urgency, calls out for her father desperately, pushing past any obstacles in her path. One of the officials looks on with sympathy as Kai hurriedly enters, pondering the unfairness of her circumstances. Upon entering, Ki finds her father unresponsive in bed. She approaches cautiously, filled with concern. Ki notices her father's numerous injuries, internalizing the harsh reality of his situation with concern and fear. Ki gently observes her father's injuries, trying to comprehend the severity of the situation. Her father suddenly questions Ki's identity, his gaze fixated on her with a hint of confusion. Kai is taken aback, realizing her father doesn't recognize her. Her thoughts race as she processes the moment. An official reassures Ki, noting her potential distress. He insists she is fine, attempting to maintain composure. Ki grapples with the shock of her father's memory loss, trying to understand what led to this situation. Ki introduces herself to her father, hoping to spark his memory and wondering if he truly doesn't remember her. The official reminds her father of Ki's identity as his beloved daughter, seeking to jog his memory. Her father vaguely recalls having a daughter, but his memories are dulled and distant, influenced by past grievances. Memories of Ki's mother flash through her father's mind, intertwining resentment with regret as he wishes for a different past. Moan is in bed, bandaged and confused, questioning his current situation, wondering why he is still alive despite thinking he shouldn't be. Sissy listens as a palace servant narrates Moan's critical condition after being ambushed by the enemy, leaving him unconscious for days. The servant continues, explaining that after Moan woke up, the general mentioned Sissy, revealing that Moan forgot about her entirely. Sissy processes the information, realizing that her existence has been entirely wiped from Moan's memory. The servant explains that the military doctors are confused because Moan suffered no internal injuries but has no recollection of Sissy, which baffles them on where to start. Sissy quietly acknowledges her understanding of the situation, repeating her willingness to accept the reality. As she walks away from the room, the servant reassures her that a solution might be found, but Sissy appears uncertain. Sissy contemplates her circumstances, feeling resigned to the challenges related to Moan forgetting her or the unfolding events in her family. She concludes that everything stems from her interfering with the original plot, leading to these unexpected changes. Sissy reflects that surviving against fate is a defiance of the gods, pondering on her choice not to die as intended. Under the moonlit sky, Moan holds a small fragrance pouch in his room late at night, thinking back to its origin. The servant informs Moan that Princess Ki made the pouch for him, handing it over before he left for battle. Moan dismissively calls the pouch ugly, holding it without much interest. He suggests discarding the pouch, but then decides against it, signaling its retention for an undisclosed reason. Moan questions the narrative, acknowledging how everyone believes he cares for Princess Ki significantly. He doubts himself, wondering how someone perceived as cold-blooded could genuinely care for a child, seeing it as absurd. Instructing the servant to dispose of the pouch, Moan turns away, leaving no room for further argument. The scene shifts to the silent Yang Palace under a dark, starry sky. In a dreamlike sequence, Sissy finds herself standing before Moan, addressing him as her father while another girl stands next to her. Council members insist on severe punishment, equating Moan's actions to that of a commoner, demanding justice. Sissy nervously awaits Moan's judgment, feeling the weight of the situation pressing down on her. The figures around her cry for her death, amplifying Sissy's anxiety about her past decisions. Sissy internally battles against altering the narrative, recognizing the consequences of deviating from the destined path. Moan commands harsh retribution, ordering Sissy away, seemingly sealing her fate. As he leaves, Sissy questions if her actions cause irreparable damage. Confronted by surreal surroundings, Sissy wonders if everything she has experienced is merely an illusion. Suddenly awake and disoriented, Sissy questions whether it was all a dream, unsure of reality. A maid enters her chamber, expressing concern over the nightmare Sissy just experienced. Sissy, seeking validation, asks the maid desperately to affirm her identity. The maid reassures Sissy of her identity, confirming her as Princess Qi of Bai Ming, offering comfort. A woman reassures a young girl, telling her that nightmares aren't real and she shouldn't be scared, as the girl holds a blanket and reflects on a dream she had. The woman urges the princess to get up, explaining that the king has returned victorious and is hosting celebrations which the princess should not miss. The princess acknowledges the urgency. An overview of Yan Ting Hall is shown, with an intricate layout and opulent decor, setting the scene for a formal gathering. A man in elegant attire raises a cup, proclaiming their victory as they push the enemy back 300 miles and celebrating the peace they have achieved. A large hall is filled with people praising the emperor, announcing his personal involvement in the battle and wishing him a long life. A young woman watches the event, lamenting that a particular person has forgotten about her, not even sparing her a glance. Another person asks what she's contemplating, and she reflects on discerning reality from a dream. He philosophically suggests that each dream has its own deception, prompting her to think it over. The young woman worries aloud about waking from this dream, pondering its implications. He advises her to face what she's given, offering a straightforward solution to her troubles. He encourages her to enjoy her dreams instead of suffering, and to allow someone to rediscover her. With a sudden revelation, the young woman exclaims that she understands now, calling him by name in excitement. He challenges her to take action once she's ready, acknowledging her realization with a knowing expression. The woman sees the person she longs for and decides that now is her moment to act, feeling the urgency to capture his attention. The young woman sends a gesture of love, filled with hope and warmth, toward her intended recipient. The man reacts by coughing, surprised by the affectionate display he once appreciated, reflecting on past feelings. The night sky accompanies a lone figure walking toward the palace, underlining the path with symbolism. A servant addresses the emperor about his destination, and he confirms he is headed to Jingyang Palace. The emperor hears someone call him father, but he is puzzled by who it could be. The girl comes forward, offering medicine she prepared, suggesting it could be helpful for his persistent illness. The emperor questions who instructed her to make the medicine, demanding an explanation. She explains that because he dislikes bitter medicine, she prepared a milder version and reassures him it's less hot. The emperor insists on knowing if she was directed to do this, his tone firm and demanding. With sincerity, she confesses that no one told her, she simply wanted to. He questions her motives, wondering if she seeks reward or pity, and warns against deception. She genuinely insists that her intention is solely for his recovery and urges him to drink before it cools completely. The emperor smirks, interpreting her actions as an early sign of manipulation. With a sudden movement, he pushes her away, dismissing her gesture and rejecting the bowl. He feels conflicted, questioning why he instinctively wanted to help her up, a thought that surprises him. Heartbroken, the girl exclaims her frustration, accusing him of ignoring her explanations and expressing her hurt. The scene is set as Moan stands in the rain, holding his head, overwhelmed and questioning the situation. A guard by his side expresses concern, asking if something is wrong. Sissy appears weak, her hair adorned with flowers, as an alarmed bystander calls for a doctor urgently. Moan dismisses the need for a doctor, his gaze intense as he addresses the guard, who looks at him worriedly. Sissy kneels, holding back tears, and reflects on the need to remake a bowl of medicine. Despite her injury, Sissy reassures herself that it won't hinder her ability to make medicine. She resolves to bandage it up to prevent any blood from dripping into her preparations. Sissy, feeling inadequate, quietly admits her perceived uselessness, hoping Moan isn't angry with her. Moan turns away, instructing the guard to leave, who complies with a simple affirmation. Moan ponders the close bond he shares with Sissy and the overwhelming feeling he had when witnessing her injury. The guard informs Sissy that Moan is very hurt and doesn't recall her, advising her to not be sad and not to suffer by making medicine herself. The guard, addressing Sissy, reiterates she shouldn't suffer and suggests leaving because of the rain, which is becoming heavier. Sissy stands alone under the rain, acknowledging the increasing downpour with a sense of resignation. A new character, holding an umbrella, approaches Sissy, suggesting she cry if she wishes. His presence is protective. Sissy whispers affirmatively, indicating she is indeed crying, though subtly. The man advises Sissy to cry louder, as the rain would drown out the sound, offering her a strange sort of privacy amidst the noise. Late at night, a lone figure sits in a study room, illuminated by the faint glow of moonlight streaming through the window. Moan appears exhausted as he is presented with medicine and candy from Princess Ki, instructing the attendant to leave it and exit. Moan reflects on a past injury from battle and the possibility of forgetting something important due to it. He recalls having a habit of placing significant matters in hidden spots, aiming to avoid critical errors when ruling the nation. As Moan picks up a letter, he questions its contents, recognizing it as an apology from Ki for once carelessly spoken words. The letter continues with Ki's apology, expressing regret for harboring inappropriate interests and desires at a young age. Ki's sweet birthday message lingers, wishing long life and happiness, enclosed within a portrait of Moan. Discussing enemy threats and leadership, the text underscores the necessity of strong leadership for peace and order. Moan finds the matters at hand unbelievable, realizing these trivial things were deemed important to him. Echoing memories of Ki calling out to her father, happiness and fond moments drift through Moan's thoughts. Outside, under the silent night sky at Yang Palace, the stillness is only punctuated by the glow of lanterns. A servant timidly welcomes Moan, her posture low and deferential. Moan muses about a certain child, his tone thoughtful and contemplative. Wondering if Ki has returned yet, his inquiry suggests a tinge of concern or anticipation. The servant confirms Ki's return, but hesitates, hinting at complications. The servant explains Ki's high fever following her exposure to rain, urging Moan to visit another time as she rests after taking her medicine. Moan notices the high fever of someone dear and reflects on their dedication despite being sick, which leaves an impression on him. A young woman is asked about an injury on someone else's hand. She replies that it isn't healing well. The young woman explains that the princess tends to handle tasks related to Moan personally, despite worsening her injury by avoiding help. Moan comments on the princess's stubbornness, pondering where she might have inherited it from. A new character, Tien, enters the room silently, appearing to comment on the situation. Moan questions Tien's presence, seemingly surprised by his appearance there. Tien argues that he can be there if someone else might love the princess and calls Moan stubborn. Tien expresses that he wouldn't dare interfere, suggesting Moan should head back due to the cold night. Moan calmly questions what Tien would do if he doesn't heed his advice. Tien acknowledges Moan's authority, humorously admitting his own limitations. Moan calls out Ting Cheng, signaling a change in the conversation. Ting Cheng asks if Moan has any final words, just as he prepares to leave. Moan notes how much Ting Cheng has changed since his youth, feeling a sense of unfamiliarity. Ting Cheng responds by observing that personalities evolve over time and considers Moan overly cautious. Moan watches as Ting Cheng departs, internally hoping his caution is misplaced. Alone, Moan hushes a young white tiger, who appears to be making noise in his company. Moan is surprised to realize that the tiger is also experiencing a fever, causing him to reflect on their shared affliction. Moan asks a young woman when she awakened, suggesting he was unaware of her stirring. The young woman retorts that she hadn't been asleep, indicating she was conscious the whole time. Moan insists on calling a doctor due to her fever, despite her attempts to refuse. The young woman, looking weary, quietly insists she doesn't need medical attention or his concern. As she begins to sleep talk, she expresses intentions to leave soon, hoping to spare him heartache upon her return. Moan demands to know where she plans to go, distressed by her words. She softly denies being his daughter, hinting at a deeper unresolved identity. Moan embraces her, affirming her status as his daughter and expressing his long-standing forgetfulness about his identity. Her quiet admission of not being needed is abruptly met with Moan's firm dismissal of her claims. Moan passionately asserts her value in his life, forbidding her from expressing self-doubt. Troubling thoughts swirl around Moan as he holds her, wondering about the cause of her severe fever. In desperation, he orders for the doctors to be summoned immediately, threatening severe consequences for any delay. Jing Shang nervously assures Moan that a doctor will be called at once, hoping to appease his rising panic. Moan stands in a chamber holding Kiki, discussing Princess Kai's high fever and burned hands causing inflammation with a court official. The official continues explaining the worsening condition due to Kiki being soaked in the rain, which caused her to faint. Moan interrupts the official, expressing a desire for a more practical approach to make Kiki comfortable. The court official wipes sweat from his forehead, preparing to explain the steps needed to lower Kiki's fever and temperature. Moan challenges the official to provide clear instructions, expressing impatience and urgency. The official pleads for mercy, telling Moan the steps to reduce Kiki's fever, which include wiping her body with cold water and continuing medication. Moan decisively carries Kiki and orders his subordinate to leave the room immediately. Moan instructs the official to call the maid responsible for Kiki's care, emphasizing the need for assistance. Kiki, in a weak state, mumbles and clutches Moan's robe, expressing fear of being left alone. With the night sky in the background, Moan declines assistance from Zhao Dishun, asserting there is no need for extra help. Zhao Dishun questions Moan's decision, seeking confirmation of his instructions. Moan directs Zhao Dishun to prepare ice, preparing for further action. Moan ties a cloth over his eyes, indicating his readiness to personally attend to Kiki's care. Moan reassures Kiki, promising her that once she recovers, they will visit Jiangnan to see the flowers together. Moan vows never to leave Kiki again, as he stands near the bed with resolved determination. Kiki's eyes slowly open, indicating she is regaining consciousness and becoming aware of her surroundings. Moan sits beside Kiki, who sits up, relieved that she is still alive and recovering. Moan checks Kiki's forehead, noting that her fever has finally subsided. Kiki, now alert, expresses distress, calling out for a Moan, asking for help in a moment of confusion. A maid rushes into the room, concerned about Kiki's sudden outburst and calling for her attention. Kiki, surprised and confused, questions the maid's identity. Moan queries Kiki on why she reacted so strongly, reminding her of her location. A maid comforts Kiki, guiding her to remain calm and suggesting the official be removed immediately. The official suggests allowing Kiki time to recover before further interactions, considering her fever-induced confusion. Moan calmly tells the official it is time to leave, maintaining a firm demeanor. The maid gently closes the chamber door, asking Kiki if she is feeling better. Kiki, still disheartened, questions why she wouldn't be all right, despite her ordeal. The maid acknowledges Moan's care throughout the night, pondering Kiki's continued emotional struggle despite his dedication. The maid expresses concern over Kiki's stubbornness, urging her to reconsider her plans. Kiki wonders why she struggles to forget Moan, despite him seemingly moving on easily, expressing her emotional turmoil. Ki wipes her tears, expressing her heartbreak and assures she isn't mad, just deeply hurt as she sits in a softly lit room. A kind servant comforts Ki, noting her tendency to care for others and downplays her own worth, suggesting she doesn't require apologies. Chi insists that no one should be treated as inferior, affirming the servant's status as a complete human being rather than mere decoration. Expressing deep affection, Ki reaches out, declaring the servant to be even closer than her own biological mother. Suddenly, third sister bursts in, acknowledging that Ki has been unwell and is visiting to check on her condition. The scene reveals Ki and the servant, paused by third sister's entrance, as she questions the tears. The servant questions third sister's unexpected presence, wondering about her reason for visiting. Third sister explains hearing from their father's servant about Kai's high fever and inquires about her current health, also questioning their father's awareness. Ki reassures that she has recovered and their father doesn't recall the events, yet blames herself for worsening the situation. Third sister encourages Ki not to worry over their father's memory, offering to take her out to a cherished place. As they walk toward the location, leaves fall around them, and Ki agrees to follow without further questions. Outside the royal reading room, a desperate voice pleads for mercy from the unseen presence. Minister Zhonglia is dragged forth pleading innocence, blaming corrupt officials for embezzlement accusations. Moan confronts Zhang about his supposed loyalty and deceit, sitting in judgment over him. Zhang defends his career integrity, claiming the blame belongs to others driven by greed during the confusion of war. Moan accuses Zhang of deceit as he recalls leading his troops despite low rations due to Zhang's betrayal. Moan throws a scroll at Zhang, challenging him to confront his misdeeds personally. Seated with authority, Moan recounts Zhang's loyal service yet unveils his betrayal regarding military supplies. Rising ominously, Moan criticizes Zhang for setting him up for failure, expressing a bitter acknowledgement of the betrayal. Zhang, on his knees, begs for mercy, admitting his mistake and offers to resign and return home if spared. Moan dismisses Zhang's proposal of resignation, seemingly amused and incredulous at Zhang's request. Moan berates Zhang's attempt to escape judgment through resignation, questioning his audacity after the crime committed. Zhang, in a plea for forgiveness, mentions his daughter serving as Mohan's concubine, trying to leverage familial ties for leniency. Unmoved, Moan asks about Zhang's accomplices, emphasizing the necessity of justice over mercy. Moan reveals awareness of Zhang's links, aiming to teach a broader lesson without touching his apparent ally for now. A court official urgently calls for Moan, trying to capture his attention as the concern escalates. The official reports to Moan that Princess Ki has been led away by third sister, prompting an immediate reaction. Alarmed and confused, Moan reacts with urgency upon hearing about Kai's whereabouts. The scene shifts to the mountainous area where wolves linger, setting an ominous atmosphere. Third sister stands with Ki, who questions the purpose of being brought to this mysterious location. A girl with pink flowers in her hair recalls a place, while another girl affirms she remembers due to a past wolf encounter. The girl in a yellow dress reminds the other of a previous incident where she almost lost her life, which was forgiven, asking to let bygones be bygones. The purple-haired girl insists that this time she also needs to be forgiven. The girl in yellow is shocked at a revelation, expressing disbelief. She reflects on her situation from an elevated viewpoint, suggesting Ki shouldn't blame her. The purple-haired girl stands in a dim setting, deciding it's time to bring satisfaction. The girl in yellow, now dusty and scratched, struggles and questions if the other has reached a rebellious phase. She demands someone find a rope to help her out of the predicament. From above, the purple-haired girl threatens to cut the other's bangs if she doesn't comply. She prays for her sister's safety and that everything turns out well. The girl in yellow is surrounded by wolves, pleading them to stay away. Crouched in fear, she laments that the struggles return, feeling like she's back at the start. She vows not to forgive Yi Yunsheng, even if she becomes a ghoul as a wolf lunges. An arrow hits the wolf, and she cries out for someone to save her. She looks up with astonishment, questioning if it's her father who intervened. Her father focuses intently, urging someone not to strike. He passionately declares his determination to protect his daughter as arrows fly. Guarding the gate, the guards panic as they are told the majesty jumped down again. In a red cloak, the father reflects on an action as familiar, pondering why it's happening again. He finds the scene highly reminiscent, standing amidst a mesmerizing background. From his perspective, the girl staggers forward, softly calling him father. He questions internally about the timing and circumstances of her severe injuries. She embraces him tightly, repeatedly calling out for her father. Memories of the great hall and gazebo surface, blending into a nostalgic haze. He recalls moments at the back of the mountain, emphasizing their significance. Clutching his head, he admits to himself that he remembers everything now. Apologetically, he acknowledges his past wrongs and shortcomings as a father. She confirms his recollection, seeking assurance that he indeed remembers. Emphatically, she questions why it took him so long to remember, expressing her frustrations. He embraces her, promising he won't repeat his mistakes, admitting his prior faults. Moan and Tien are enjoying time together at a festival, the setting sun casting warm hues over the surroundings. Tien and Ki are smiling, wearing traditional festive clothes with lanterns hanging above. Ki gazes at the same festive scene with admiration for the decorations and lively atmosphere. Tien and Kiki stand side by side, enveloped in a comfortable silence as they watch people pass by in the background. Moan and Tien hold hands, his protective demeanor evident as they walk among the crowd. Kiki holds a tray of food, her focus on serving the delicious dishes in front of her. Tien stands, processing Kiki's words about never forgiving her without making tangulu. Moan reassures Tien, promising to make a whole cart of tangulu without eating or sleeping. A servant expresses concern over the princess' recent high fever and whether to call a physician. Moan instructs to call all imperial physicians to the palace while Kiki sleeps in his arms. Moan orders more ingredients for tangulu, ensuring there's no shortage. Kiki is carried while Moan questions the absence at the Temple of Literature. Tien admits her fear of Kiki resenting her. Moan comforts Tien, patting her head, acknowledging Kiki's intelligence and understanding nature. Tien is touched by Mohan's words, her eyes shimmering with emotion. Moan offers a chance for Tien to join in making tangulu as she truly cares for Kiki. As Kiki wakes, she is surprised by the large quantity of tangulu Moan prepared. Moan asks if Kiki remembers the location, hinting at its significance. Moan reminisces about meeting Kiki crawling out from the dog door for the first time. Kiki reflects on that first encounter, recalling that day with a smile. Moan confirms the dog door is still present. Kiki is shocked to learn the door was repaired on Mohan's command. The dog door is proudly displayed, specifically designated for Princess Ki. Moan playfully asks Kiki if she likes the gesture. Kiki is stunned, awkwardly responding to Mohan's question. A sudden exclamation is heard, drawing attention to someone at the door. Another woman, concubine Shu, is revealed, seeking an urgent audience with Moan. Concubine Shu explains her need to speak due to being blocked by eunuch Zhao. She pleads with Moan, claiming her father's innocence and wrongful framing. Moan listens, dispassionately asking if she's finished with her plea. Moan and Ting stand together, silhouetted against a sunlit backdrop. Moan is garbed in dark attire, creating a striking contrast with the brightness behind him. Ting, dressed in lighter tones, stands beside him, sharing in the peaceful moment. Ki holds her hand out towards the viewer. The background swirls with dark patterns, indicating a moment of surprise or revelation. A serene sunset frames Moan, who wears intricate traditional robes. He mentions the evening class at the Temple of Literature, reminding Ki about her waiting sister at the gate. Moan gently pushes the little girl forward, telling her to go straight ahead and not look back. Her eyes are wide as she grips onto her item, acknowledging with a quiet okay. The little girl walks towards a traditional gate, lanterns hanging to the side. She protests aloud, admitting her faults, perhaps in a moment of reflection or regret. Ki stands among a shower of delicate white roses, addressing her sister with a mix of shy and embarrassed sentiments. Her name echoes in the floral archway, a testament to their close bond. The young girl expresses an odd mixture of surprise and alienation towards Ki, questioning the stranger-like gaze she's receiving despite being siblings. Sissy hesitates, recalling if her actions caused any harm. Her sincerity is evident, though there's a moment she seems to struggle with admitting her intentions. Ki, humored, teases her sister about her fear, painting her as a fearless figure in jest. Their bond is playfully expressed through laughter and light-hearted chides. Tai lightly mocks Sissy, questioning her true intentions with a playful nudge about Song Yu Cheng. Their interaction is filled with sibling banter, highlighted by their closeness. Sissy counters with playful defensiveness, explaining her motives with an affectionate pinch, while seeking her sister's understanding despite the mischief. Ki questions Sissy on her feelings for Song Yu Cheng, prompting a thoughtful response about her own nature and disinterest in forced affections. As they walk down a stone path, Ki reflects on her current standing in the palace, wondering aloud about her next steps. From a distance, Ki urges them to hurry, concerned about being late as the sky dramatically changes color, emphasizing the urgency in their pace. Ki bumps into someone suddenly. A small cry from her sister calls out to her. The viewer sees her surprise against the backdrop of twilight hues. The man, grand in his white robes and gentle demeanor, reassures Ki that there's no rush, expressing he had exceeded his boundaries in their impromptu encounter. Ki stands before the unknown figure, puzzled by his absence in the original tale she knows. Curiosity piques her interest in this unfamiliar presence. Ki, exercising polite formality, introduces the man as advisor, a title which seems to surprise her sister. The cordial exchange underscores an unfamiliar authority. With a reminder from Ki, her sister executes a bow in haste, unfamiliar with this respected figure whose significance she cannot comprehend without cues. The advisor reveals his recent return after 3 months in seclusion, providing a respite for the sisters from their school obligations. They stand attentively, taking in his words. Ki reacts with a thought bubble of skepticism, contemplating the advisor's long absence and the mysterious aura he carries. The advisor addresses the princess' academic setbacks with a gentle reminder of diligence over leisure. His intent gaze suggests an earnest desire to guide her properly. Inviting Ki to the Sutra Pavilion, the advisor extends an open invitation for further study, with a hint of authority laced with kindness. Ki silently acknowledges the aura surrounding the advisor, connecting it to the respect he commands within the palace. She understands his unique presence. As the advisor walks away, the princess shares her insecurities with her sister, feeling overwhelmed by the situation and the proximity of impending trouble. Cece is puzzled by her sister's fear of the advisor, reasoning his role was specially arranged by their father, therefore requiring her to treat him with singular deference. Ki confesses her bewilderment at her own fear despite the advisor's beauty and considerate demeanor, voicing a contradiction between her feelings and his perceived perfection. Ki's sister jokingly waves off the notion of the advisor's charm, treating the idea of him as a future beau as an amusing absurdity. Ki playfully silences her sister's teasing, emphasizing discretion amidst their conversation, though the underlying admiration is briefly entertained. Ki whimsically considers the advisor's attributes, pale skin, pleasant demeanor, and tranquil white garb, yet she hints at a deeper reason for her apprehension, a subdued enigma. King Han reflects on the risk of angering the advisor, acknowledging that her little life here hinges on her keeping a low profile. As King Han prepares to leave, she mentions needing to copy books and instructs Debay to return without her, reminding the latter not to wander. King Han advises Debay to head back for dinner and warns against speaking to anyone about the advisor or her evening plans. Debay mischievously teases King Han about the possibility of something happening between her and the advisor. King Han dismisses Debay's teasing with a playful threat to settle it with a beating upon her return. Debay ponders the changes in the storyline, wondering if a new character emerged due to plot alterations. She considers He Jing's chances in the story as she kicks leaves, questioning the implications of the new developments. Debay is surprised to see Liu Ji and calls out to him under an autumn canopy. Liu Ji squints in her direction, questioning her presence as Debay explains she was headed back for dinner. Debay senses something amiss with Liu Ji, noting his scent of blood and wondering about his recent activities. She is struck by the alarming thought that Liu Ji might have killed someone. Liu Ji gently pats Debay's head, signaling her to go, as he decides to leave as well. Debay feels she should trust Liu Ji despite her fears about what he might have done. Debay expresses her desire to dine with Liu Ji, asking him to take her back with him. Liu Ji, showing reluctance, retracts from Debay's reach, suggesting they'll meet another time. An hour passes at Zhonghua Palace, indicating the passage of time in the narrative. Debay instructs Liu Ji to eat first, promising to join him later after handling some tasks. Growing uneasy, Debay resolves to accompany Liu Ji, suspecting something is wrong with him. As Debay follows, she notices blood and realizes Liu Ji is bleeding, which alarms her. Confused and concerned, Debay questions the events that have led to Liu Ji's current state. The revelation of the severity of Liu Ji's injuries shocks Debay, deepening her concern. Inside the room, Liu Ji is seen wrapping his wounds, his condition visibly severe. In a surprising turn, Liu Ji suddenly picks up Debay, leaving her bewildered. Liu Ji, panicking, demands to know who sent Debay to spy on him, his suspicion rising. Overwhelmed by the situation, Debay tries to clarify her identity and intentions to Liu Ji. Debay calmly reassures Liu Ji that he doesn't need to fear her, affirming her identity. Liu Ji questions Debay's reason for being there, his curiosity clearly piqued. Liu Ji senses someone approaching, urging Debay to hide swiftly. An attendant arrives with medicine for Liu Ji, announcing its purpose at the entrance. Liu Ji instructs the attendant to leave the medicine outside, not allowing entry. Moan and Tien are shown together, forming connections of complex emotions, involved in a delicate exchange that hints at deeper plot elements. A hand reaches out in a formal setting, with the words of deference, indicating the presence of someone of high status being addressed as Your Highness. Tien is lightly wrapped in bandages, attempting to create distance by telling the other to let go, showing an assertive, independent stance. The conversation turns to concerns about safety in the palace, posing a question if such caution is necessary, challenging the established sense of security. Tien, reflecting on her status, explains that no place offers true safety, revealing the precarious balance she maintains within the palace walls. Sisi is curious about Tien's status beyond being the prince of Baiming, suspecting another hidden identity, adding layers to the intrigue. Tien shows relief, deciding not to question why Sisi followed him. Instead, he requests her help with applying medicine, prioritizing healing over accountability. Tien asks Sisi if she knows how to apply the medicine, resulting in her agreeing to try despite uncertainty, nodding in acknowledgement. Sisi questions why Tien didn't consult the royal doctor, pointing out the visibility of his injury, and expresses concern over the need for secrecy. Sisi internally wonders who could have inflicted such an injury on Tien and why it must remain hidden, showing her empathetic nature. Conflicted thoughts plague Sisi as she ponders the numerous secrets surrounding Tien, fearing what truths she might uncover. Sisi fears that the truths behind Tien's secrets could lead to irreversible consequences, intertwining curiosity with anxiety. A gentle inquiry from Sisi about causing pain is met with Tien's reassurances, urging her to continue the task, maintaining their collaborative effort. Sisi remarks on Tien's sweating, wondering about the extent of his pain, indicating a caring involvement in his well-being. Tien internally assesses Sisi's intentions, concluding she harbors no desire to harm him, fostering a sense of cautious trust. Sisi promises Tien confidentiality, respecting his privacy and ensuring any secrets will be kept safe, reinforcing her supportive role. Moan makes an unexpected offer to Sisi, opening the table for questions and suggesting a willingness to share more of himself. Sisi is taken aback by Moan's openness and contemplates the possibility of learning his secrets, cautiously optimistic. Sisi questions Moan about hidden intentions, like being silenced after discovering the truth, linking her knowledge with danger. Moan considers Sisi's persistent desire to uncover the truth, acknowledging her determination to understand his injuries. Sisi asks if Moan still feels pain, showing continued concern for his condition and reflecting her compassionate nature. Moan is surprised by Sisi's question, revealing unexpected vulnerability under her scrutiny, indicating shifting dynamics. Sisi acknowledges the need for secrecy and expresses understanding, highlighting her ability to empathize with Moan's situation. Moan admits the injury was a warning from his company, hinting at deeper schemes and underlying tensions in his world. As Moan discusses his company's grand plans, Sisi reacts with panic, fearful of the wider implications of his words. Moan addresses Sisi's fears directly, questioning the need for delay if he intended harm, providing her with reassurance. Sisi reflects on her history with Moan, deducing that if he intended harm, she wouldn't have survived their past encounters. Moan offers Sisi the chance to ask further questions, emphasizing his openness and shifting the conversation dynamic once more. Sisi declines further questioning, contemplating Moan's strength and the likelihood of success in his endeavors, filled with uncertain admiration. A tender moment ensues as Moan wishes Sisi success and instructs her to return quickly, showcasing a gentle side and protective instincts. Sisi questions herself, wondering why she forgot to use the hemostatic medicine. Moan dismisses the effectiveness of the palace's medicine, telling Sisi not to worry and to leave. Sisi reflects on Moan's careless attitude towards his injuries, noting it's become a habit. She thinks about how Zhonghuo Palace lacks medicinal materials and servants, finding it pitiful. It is now the second night at Zhonghuo Palace. A woman, distressed and wounded, repeatedly calls for little Cheng. Moan is by the woman's side, calling her mother. The woman insists that little Cheng must live on. Moan, now alone and alert, demands to know who is there. Sisi reveals herself, asking Moan to keep his voice down while struggling with a jar. Moan comments on the height of the window, exasperated. Sisi carefully climbs through the window, balancing her jar. Playfully, Sisi explains she climbed up with the help of Dabai. Sisi reassures Moan about discreetly making medicine for his wound. Moan questions Sisi's effort, surprised she carried the jar all the way. Sisi encourages Moan to drink the medicine quickly, assuring him it will heal him. Moan asserts he never needed saving from Sisi. Sisi places the jar down, saying she's brought it regardless. Moan notices Cece's injured ankle and questions it. Cece reassures him, saying her ankle will heal quickly. She explains the scratch might be from when she climbed the wall, but it's not painful. Moan insists that she drink her medicine before it cools down. He refuses to drink, stating he doesn't need it. Cece is puzzled about the severity of Moan's injury. Moan firmly tells Cece he doesn't need her help. Moan reveals his back, instructing Cece to see for herself. Cece is astonished. The wound appears gone. She hesitantly points out where the wound should have been. Cece confirms that the wound has completely disappeared. Moan asks if Cece sees clearly now. Tien stands with a solemn expression while Cece looks up, contemplating how she saw the wound from the previous day and recalls the pain he showed was not faked. Tien covers his chest, where the wound once was, as Cece wonders how it healed so quickly without a mark. The mystery of its rapid healing puzzles her. Tien turns slightly, telling Cece that she doesn't need to worry about the situation, indicating it's something she shouldn't know. Cece admits silently he might be right. They move to a quiet room where Tien sits and explains that he cannot reveal more details yet. When the time is right, he will share everything with her. Tien complicates matters by saying they aren't resolved and the time to discuss it hasn't come yet, holding Cece's attention as she listens closely. Cece agrees not to ask further questions, deciding to trust Tien despite the uncertainty around them, preferring to wait for when he's ready to speak. Tien says he will head back, leaving the room while Cece stands by, wrapped in her thoughts about the night's revelations and unanswered questions. As Tien prepares to leave, he mentions that rain is coming soon, showing awareness of shifting weather, while Cece seems to prepare herself mentally. Cece stands by the window, remarking on how it feels colder than when she arrived, with no moon in the sky as she contemplates the night's events. Cece suddenly becomes alert, referring to Dabai, as uncertainty fills the room. She seems to seek confirmation or support for what's going on. Before the rain begins, Cece decides they should leave quickly, aiming to move with urgency before the weather shifts. Tien, cross-armed, agrees to Cece's insistence on leaving. He allows it, indicating willingness to respect her decision despite any personal reluctance. Cece becomes startled by something unexpected, questioning the presence of an ominous figure in the shadows, unsure of what it could mean. In a light-hearted panic, Cece wonders aloud if the figure is a ghost. Tien humorously concurs, sharing in her mild fright. Rising concern about the supposed ghost causes Cece to refuse returning alone, prompting Tien to jokingly offer to carry her for safety. Tien proposes a sleeping arrangement where Cece takes the bed while he takes the chair, prioritizing her comfort and safety. Cece begins to suspect Tien might have orchestrated the evening's events, considering the series of circumstances that unfolded. The scene shifts to the Imperial School the next morning, capturing the changing leaves as a new day starts with reflections on lost enthusiasm. In the classroom, a classmate wonders why Cece looks so tired, teasing her about possible late-night activities and questioning her sleepiness. Cece admits her insomnia, explaining her struggle to sleep at night and stay awake during the day. Her classmate comments how it sounds poetic. The classmate urges Cece to wake up, mentioning a big event happening today and invites her to join, piquing Cece's curiosity about the occasion. Opting for fun over classes, they decide to skip school and aim for an adventurous day, switching their mood to excitement and anticipation. Meanwhile, in a restaurant's side room elsewhere in the capital, someone comments on the simplicity of the situation they are discussing. Two individuals inside the room conclude their conversation with one affirming that there's nothing more to add, leaving matters settled. The discussion shifts to past events involving Kiki, as inquiries are made about thorough investigations into those occurrences, requesting clarity. An appeal for understanding from all perspectives emerges, with one admitting it's tough dealing with frequent requests from the other. A servant arrives, announcing the arrival of tofu for the 9th Royal Highness, noting the effort taken in obtaining it due to long lines. With curiosity about the source, one asks if the tofu came from a well-known family, reflecting on its reputation and preparation. Confirmed that it's the same sought-after tofu, the servant recounts the crowded lines and even sacrifices made, receiving appreciation in return. A brotherly interaction follows, as one suggests trying the tofu together, inviting a shared moment as they settle in for a meal. Moan demands someone throw away his stinky tofu. The frightened servant hesitantly agrees to dispose of it for him, while smoke wafts from the hot dish. Moan sternly instructs the servant to leave the tofu, commanding the task be carried out immediately, pointing decisively. As Mohan listens, another servant interrupts, mentioning that while in line for stinky tofu, they saw the third and seventh princesses nearby. Mohan questions if the princesses skipped school and inquires about their destination, prompting the servant to stammer out a response. Two young princesses inquire at a bookstore about a book, asking if the latest volume they ordered has been published yet. The shopkeeper proudly presents the book to the princesses, highlighting the author's signature on it, which delights them. The younger princess is surprised to realize the book is an ancient text, her eyes wide with intrigue. The shopkeeper shows several other new books, inviting them to explore the selection as the shelves are filled with promising titles. One princess decides there's no need to look further, having found what she wanted, her expression set. The older princess decides to buy all the books from this author, asking the shopkeeper to reserve signed copies for her in future. The shopkeeper lists charming and romantic book titles, piquing the interest of the younger princess who listens intently. The younger princess, holding the books, curiously asks if any of them contain the thing they are searching for, inquiring of her sister. The older sister hushes her sibling, cautioning that she's too young, and promises to hand over the books in 2 years. A servant approaches, bowing, and informs the princesses that they're being summoned by the emperor, which surprises them. As they ascend the palace steps, the younger sister wonders aloud why their father suddenly left the palace. The servant explains that details cannot be revealed, but insists on escorting the princesses to meet their father immediately. The older sister expresses concern about their books being discovered by their father, while the younger silently worries. Kiki is asked to enter first, but she defers, observing traditional respect for her older sister, suggesting she lead instead. The older sister insists on letting the younger go first, but Kiki counters, teasing that she's older using a mysterious logic. The older sister, puzzled, questions what Kiki means by 2 lifetimes, her curiosity piqued by the cryptic statement. Mohan calls from inside, demanding both princesses enter, causing them to freeze and react with apprehension. Mohan questions their absence from school as they stand silently with downcast eyes, feeling the weight of his words. When confronted about their truancy, both sisters nervously deny skipping school, attempting to justify their actions. Mohan is curious about what they're hiding and demands them to reveal it, as Kiki anxiously holds the concealed item. Shocked by Mohan's presence, the princesses reluctantly display the hidden items, surrounded by a tense atmosphere. Overwhelmed, both sisters feel a sense of doom approaching, dreading the outcome of their brother's reaction. Mohan quietly asserts both their culpability, while tension continues to fill the room between them. Mohan sternly accuses them of playing truant merely to obtain the books, his stance resolute and unwavering. The younger sister tries to deflect some blame by mentioning the stinky tofu as another motivation for their actions. Another character lightens the tense scene, jokingly acknowledging the irresistible smell of stinky tofu, creating a brief moment of levity. Mohan stands in the room looking at CH6 and Tien, who seem puzzled by a report on the floor. A question hangs in the air about the situation at hand. Mohan, with determination in his eyes, suggests that answers will be revealed soon. The scene shifts to an elegant building surrounded by greenery, marking a transition a moment later. A whimsical image shows 3 people writing apology letters while exercising. Mohan confirms the situation with a triumphant yes. A reflective thought of frustration about being implicated twice without cause, leading to feelings of hate. The setting changes to the Royal Library room at midnight, where an official approaches Mohan, who is seated at a desk. Mohan inquires if someone is asleep, casually rubbing his head, indicating a state of contemplation. The official informs Mohan that the 7th princess is already asleep and mentions her uneasy slumber due to exhaustion. Mohan instructs the official to relieve her of writing duties for the next day, suggesting that Mohan will take her place instead. Mohan questions if arrangements have been made to find the author of controversial books. The official confirms the author is imprisoned, waiting for audience. The official offers to quietly eliminate the author, but Mohan dismisses the need for such action. Mohan decides to let the author continue writing. He taps his fingers on a table, indicating his decision-making process. Mohan seems pleased, considering the scenario where if his daughter enjoys the books, they should be written with inspirational content. This is seen as a clever tactic. An official decree is spoken, promoting the author to an artist with benefits of a 6th-rank mandarin, enforcing a new role. The condition is set for the author to produce more than 3,000 words monthly, with dire consequences otherwise. Flattery about Yi Mohan's mercy follows. The official has additional news regarding General Exu's return with troops, desiring a meeting outside the palace. Mention of General Exu and monitoring Crown Prince Xi Ming catches Yi Mohan's attention, prompting further contemplation. Yi Mohan decides to grant an audience to General Exu, instructing to let him in. The scene transitions outside to the Huayang Palace, bathed in moonlight, signifying a change of setting. Cixi is caught in confusion amidst chaos, shouting about her whereabouts amidst warnings to flee. The revelation of being in Bai Ming strikes her with surprise, repeating the name to herself in shock. The reality of being in Bai Ming continues to unsettle her as the environment is filled with ominous energy. The narrative states the story is coming to an end, leaving a cliffhanger aura in the atmosphere. Yan Cheng, a male protagonist, appears on horseback, signaling a significant plot development involving Cixi. An ominous narration describes Yan Cheng's destructive actions in Bai Ming, imperiling everyone, including Cixi. Yan Cheng declares Cixi's fate as the last in Bai Ming, to sacrifice for the prosperity of Bai Yan. Cixi awakens abruptly, pondering the vivid and personal nature of her dream about the story's end. Her reflections bring concern that changes to the plot may not alter the grim outcome, questioning her agency. Overwhelmed, Cixi recalls the male lead Yan Cheng's face, linking her dream's events to reality. A shock ensues as a scream fills the air, prompting Cixi to pay attention to external happenings. Moan bursts through the door forcefully, holding a sword, and finds Sissy on the floor, who calls out the name Liu. Moan accuses Sissy of being the last survivor of Bai Ming and demands her blood as a sacrifice for Ming people. Birds flutter away in the sky above a traditional building as a shout of "No" echoes. Sissy awakens in bed, wearing traditional clothes, while a concerned servant checks on her, mentioning her highness awakening. The servant explains to Sissy that she had a fever last night and reassures her that the doctor treated her. Sissy muses about her father's visit last night and resolves to thank him later as she drinks from a bowl. Sissy contemplates the bizarre dream she experienced, questioning its logic. Sissy feels uneasy about the dream, feeling as though Liu's brother wanted to kill her, while thinking about the royal library. Sissy, carrying a small box, wonders about the significance of the appearance of male lead Yan Cheng. Sissy hides behind a corner, wary of the soldiers passing by, and thinks about these people. Sissy connects the scene with Yan Cheng from the original story, contemplating who he is. Sissy peeks from behind the wall, asking herself which one is the male lead. Sissy recalls the original depiction of Yan Cheng, noting his distinct appearance and exceptional handsomeness. Sissy focuses on his sharp eyes, admitting that she feels something is off. Observing the group, Sissy realizes that no one fits Yan Cheng's description, wondering if he hasn't appeared yet. Sissy reflects on the original storyline, where Yan Cheng hid his identity to seek revenge. Now seated, Sissy predicts that the moment of Yan Cheng's appearance is near. A scene of destruction is depicted, critiquing the portrayal of the male lead as lacking the main character's aura. The narrative describes Yan Cheng's struggle after Bai Ming's fall, hiding his identity in the enemy's barracks. Yan Cheng is shown resting, determined to avenge his family and country's destruction. Guards berate Yan Cheng, emphasizing his weak position and impending fate on the battlefield. Yan Cheng, under autumn leaves, strategizes a surprise attack as criticisms about his story's pacing are made. Yan Cheng agrees to orders and is hinted to eventually rise to significant power within 3 years. Yan Cheng is depicted leading troops into the capital, indicating his growth into a formidable leader. Yan Cheng stands before the throne, having led an attack against the imperial palace. Yan Cheng, now on the throne, has dethroned the great tyrant Yi Ji Yao, showcasing his rise to power. The narrative paints Yan Cheng as ruthless, lacking romantic feelings, like a demon without mercy. Sissy reflects on the story's male lead, contemplating how to avoid a similar tragic fate for Bai Ming. Despite the poor odds, Sissy is determined to try for her loved ones, aiming to prevent the tragic end. Sissy senses someone watching her, yet sees no one, heightening her awareness of her surroundings. Kiki carries a basket, thinking about handling her father's work and deciding to return to the palace first, doubting her suspicions may be excessive. Kiki is surprised to hear Liu Ji's voice and turns to see him entering the room. Liu Ji stands holding a folder and greets Kiki, questioning her presence as she wonders why he is there personally meeting her father today. Liu Ji reassures Ki, saying he just passed by the Sutra Pavilion and coincidentally ended up there, reaching out while holding the folder. Ki doubts Liu Ji's excuse, mentally noting the Sutra Pavilion is south and the Royal Study north, questioning the validity of his explanation. Ki changes the topic, asking Liu Ji if he was busy yesterday as she tries to move the conversation away from her doubts. Ki muses about having a fever and dreaming Liu Ji killed her, expressing feeling wronged about the dream. Liu Ji asks if Ki is feeling better now, and she brushes it off, saying she is fine while her body language shows mild annoyance. Liu Ji teases Ki, suggesting she might be upset he did not visit when she was sick, but not taking her complaint seriously. Ki insists she is not upset as she stomps away, her actions contradicting her words. Ki internally justifies her irritation, remembering her efforts to help Liu Ji when injured without receiving the same care back. Liu Ji smiles, revealing he did visit Ki, however, no one knew about it, hinting at his secretive nature. Ki curiously peeks under a cloth, carefully lifting it to see what might be underneath. Ki reacts with shock upon seeing what's under the cloth, clearly taken aback by the discovery. Liu Ji gently covers Ki's eyes, telling her not to look at the scene ahead. Guards warn Liu Ji to remove the object as it frightens the princess, and he apologizes, acknowledging their command. Assuring Ki, Liu Ji lets her know the disturbing sight is gone, urging her not to be scared. Liu Ji reflects on the experience, suggesting Ki may never have seen a dead person before as he strokes her head. Ki questions the identity of the dead person with urgency in her voice. Liu Ji reveals that the dead person was Crown Prince Exigning, startling Ki with the revelation. He clarifies further, confirming that the body was Yan Cheng's, adding to the gravity of the situation. Ki pretends to be surprised, exclaiming Yan Cheng's name aloud as she processes the information. Ki internally reflects, knowing Yan Cheng faked his death, and ponders Liu Ji's involvement, questioning his knowledge about this. Ki wonders if Liu Ji knows the reason behind Yan Cheng's death, speculating inwardly on his awareness. Liu Ji reflects solemnly, questioning the true cause of Yan Cheng's demise, pondering deeply about the circumstances. Liu Ji mentions Ki's sneaky attempts to gather information from him, lightly teasing her while still serious. Liu Ji sadly implies that Yan Cheng's end might have been unavoidable, suggesting there was a justification behind it. Liu Ji philosophically comments on the world's unfair nature, lamenting the lack of justice for good and evil deeds. Liu Ji excuses himself, saying he has palace matters to attend to, and leaves Ki pondering his sad demeanor. Ki calls out to Liu Ji, pleading for him to wait as she follows him, feeling the pressing need to understand more. Tien invites Ki to join him, saying he's not in a hurry to see their father. Ki responds hesitantly, addressing Tien directly. A view of the palace roof is seen through the leaves. Tien suggests taking Ki back to the palace first. Ki asks if she can eat lunch with Tien at the Zhonghua Palace before going back. Tien mentions the pastries there are better than his, implying her silence means agreement. Ki, smiling and grateful, thanks Tien for agreeing to her suggestion. The scene shifts to outside the Zhonghua Palace, a serene setting with sunlight filtering through the trees. Ki spots a cat and comments that it belongs to their eldest brother, asking Tien if he knows it. Ki, excited, calls the cat Niang, coaxing it to come closer. Tien repeats the cat's name, seemingly in recognition or surprise. Ki confirms her surprise that it is indeed Niang after rubbing the cat gently. Tien looks around, commenting on their eldest brother's absence, while Ki holds the cat, thinking she can keep it for a while. Dabai instructs Ki to put the cat down, considering it dirty, as they stand near a garden entrance. Ki insists the cat is clean and cute, offering it to Dabai, who refuses to hold it. Guards search the bushes, stating they heard someone mention the presence of the majesty nearby. The majesty orders a search, looking determined as the scene unfolds in the garden. The majesty calls out for Niang, while Ki feels alarmed and worried about their situation. Ki anxiously hopes the majesty won't misunderstand her actions with the cat. The majesty questions why Niang is with them, observing the situation carefully. Ki feels confused as she struggles to explain the situation, holding the cat closely. She nervously hopes the majesty won't take drastic action over a misunderstanding with the cat. Tien calmly explains to the majesty that the cat ran to the bushes outside Zhonghua Palace on its own. The majesty indicates that the area was dirtied by the cat, prompting a brief confusion. Kiki realizes the majesty just wiped some dirt from her face, feeling relieved. Tien instructs Kiki to return the cat to the majesty, which she agrees to do. Kiki tries to persuade Niang to go back with their eldest brother, ending up pulling the cat gently. Tien suspects Niang doesn't want Kiki to leave. He suggests they hug it and head back to the palace together, showing slight confusion. The majesty insists it's up to Kiki to decide whether to follow him to the palace, trying to keep calm. The majesty speaks directly to Kiki, asking her to make the decision herself. Kiki considers how clingy the kitten is, fearing she might have to follow her eldest brother back despite her attempts to detach. Tien reassures the majesty that Kiki will accompany him, planning to leave once the matter is resolved. The majesty thanks Kiki for her help, ending the narrative on a calm note. Kiki informs Liu Ji that she's leaving. Liu Ji responds that it's up to her. The scene shifts to the Changde Palace under the warm light of the sun. Kiki is impressed by the palace's size, noting it is much larger than her own Huaiyang Palace and different as expected of the eldest son's residence. She wonders why there is so much water and suspects the eldest brother was getting Niang a bath. Kiki holds a cat, suspecting that the bath must have led to Niang's upper part being wet. The eldest brother explains it's the maid's day off, and after trying to bathe the cat himself, the cat ran away, afraid of the water. Kiki mentions that cats generally fear water but can still take baths. The eldest brother inquires if she has a solution. Kiki explains that because the cat has never been exposed to water, it feels insecure. She advises gently wetting its entire body to help it get accustomed to the water. While Kiki follows her advice, her eldest brother comments that they haven't interacted much. He notes that the cat's lack of security could be due to unfamiliarity. Kiki remarks that the cat is no longer afraid as she puts it back in the bath. Her eldest brother wonders if Kiki's fear of him resembles the cat's fear of water. He points out their limited interactions and touches her forehead lightly. Kiki smiles and expresses her gratitude towards her eldest brother. Kiki mentions Niang is clean now and expresses her intent to leave. Her eldest brother invites her to stay for lunch, suggesting she eat with him. Kiki apologetically declines, explaining her palace has already prepared lunch. Her eldest brother offers to take her back. Kiki politely refuses his help and starts to leave quickly. Her eldest brother wonders if she is still afraid of him. Kiki reflects on her prejudice against him, attributing it to previous bad rumors heard from her third sister. She questions why she feels scared of him when he's always gentle and never angry. Kiki notes her habit of running away while thinking of him waiting for her. Liu Ji asks if she brought the cat back. Kiki confirms that she did. She explains that although she initially planned to leave after returning the cat, she discovered her eldest brother was unable to bathe it properly. Liu Ji tells Kiki that her whereabouts and activities don't concern him and turns away. Kiki observes his apparent anger and sighs. She calls out to Liu Ji to wait for her. He has a hard mouth and a soft heart. This character will only make him suffer. She reflects on how he waited an hour and acted cold, leaving her puzzled about his anger. She apologizes for not knowing he was waiting for her. Next time, she says, she will be more aware. He tells her there will be no next time, emphasizing the finality of his words. He instructs her not to follow him, marking an end to their encounter. The sound of him pushing away resonates. She realizes he is truly angry and finds it challenging to appease him, shaking her head in disbelief. 1 hour later, the scene transitions to Zhonghua Palace, setting a new stage for their interaction. She mentions the confusing path in the palace, thankful for her previous visits, otherwise she would have gotten lost. She laments her lack of lunch while musing on her exhausting tasks. Her mission to console him feels daunting. Feeling hungry, she wonders why food is laid out despite it being past lunchtime. Did he prepare it for her? She hesitantly asks if he is still angry, unsure of how to approach him as she sits down. Liu Ji waves away the food, indicating she isn't hungry, and instructs the table to be cleared. She insists she is hungry, quickly grabbing the food before it's taken away, showing her determination. He points out that her eldest brother doesn't allow her to eat, hinting at the control in their environment. She protests, stating Liu Ji treats her the best, and she enjoys eating at his palace, eating a big piece. He gently tells her to eat slowly, and she expresses her desire for shrimp meat, appreciating his care. He warns her against wanting everything at once, expressing slight frustration. Finding her manner undignified as she burps, he points out her behavior with a raised brow, Feeling satisfied and full, she informs him she is leaving with a confident gesture. He abruptly stops her, causing her to turn back in surprise and anticipation. Confusion washes over her as she wonders if he is still upset or has another motive. Liu Ji requests her hand, adding to her bewilderment, unsure of his intention. He finds her hand dirty, prompting him to clean it, which surprises her given his past anger. She reflects on her assumptions, relieved he only wanted to clean her hands. Her skill in soothing seems to have improved. Deciding to leave, she departs with a pleasant demeanor, ready to move on from the encounter. Watching her go, he muses on their relationship, likening himself to an older brother. He ponders the boundaries between them. His thoughts reveal a secret about their lack of shared blood, fearing the impact of its revelation. Rationalizing her age and innocence, he dismisses his worries, believing they are unfounded. As he contemplates his country's restoration, he resolves to disregard his current feelings for her. His resolve is shown in the declaration. In a moment of vulnerability, he mutters her name while lying down, revealing his hidden affection. The scene shifts to a bright vision of her calling him warmly, inviting him to join her in an idyllic setting. In the midst of a serene garden, Moan faces Kiki, intrigued by her presence and calling her name softly. Kiki, adorned with a crown of flowers, playfully offers Moan a floral wreath, enjoying the sunny atmosphere. Moan hesitantly reaches out, taking the flowers from Kiki as he continues to express surprise at her radiant appearance. Surrounded by blossoms, Kiki playfully adjusts her flower crown and mentions how it tickles her, adding to the light-hearted mood. Moan, reaching out to touch the flowers, is gently reminded by Kiki to stop, as she refers to him affectionately as Liu Ji. Moan, momentarily serious, instructs Kiki not to call him Liu Ji, emphasizing a more formal tone. Closing the gap between them, Moan leans in and suggests that she call him Yan Ji instead, allowing for a more personal connection. Kiki, looking up to him, softly repeats Yan Ji, acknowledging his preference with a hint of affection. The scene transitions to a later hour as the narrative shifts to a cold spring behind the Zhonghua Palace under an ethereal night sky. Moan, now alone, reflects on his earlier encounter with Kiki, questioning the surreal nature of the interaction as if it were a dream. He sits by himself, frustrated with his thoughts, acknowledging his mental confusion from the vivid daydreams. A wise advisor cautions Moan about the risks of staying in the cold spring for too long, urging him to return to the shore for his well-being. Moan dismisses the advisor's concerns, assigning him to an overnight duty while he himself remains preoccupied with other matters. As Moan enters a dimly lit room, his footsteps echo softly, hinting at a sense of purpose or mission. His internal turmoil manifests physically as Moan slams his fists against the wall in frustration, unable to find peace. Regaining composure, Moan inquires if anyone needs more food, revealing a dual nature of empathy and authority. Moan shows a moment of vulnerability, holding an empty bowl, seemingly caught between reluctance and necessity. He reassures the other presences in the room, promising future nourishment when the time is right, displaying calculated control. Surrounded by memories, Moan recalls discussions with Kiki, illustrating his persistent internal conflict and responsibilities. Moan's demeanor changes to stern, commanding those around him to avoid gazing at him with questioning eyes unless ready to face consequences. He reveals his identity as a prince from the enemy nation who has been secretly holding the real prince Yi-Ting-Cheng captive, outlining a hidden conflict. Moan dismisses any familial loyalty, claiming that the fate of the Yiming royal family is justified and directs any resentment towards them. The third prince of the opposing nation is revealed to be Moan, his presence defined by a powerful aura amidst a dramatic setting of red roses. The captive prince, confused and shackled, recognizes Moan's true identity, expressing shock at the revelation of Yan Cheng. Moan asserts the striking similarities between Yi-Ting-Cheng and Kiki, despite their twisted circumstances and origins. Advancing with intent, Moan asserts control, leaving the captive in uncertainty about his fate and identity. The captive begs Moan for answers, questioning his intentions and expressing fear over his uncertain future. Moan hushes him, revealing his liking for the name Yi-Ting-Cheng, delighting in his new identity's complexities and opportunities. The narrative reflects on Kiki's gentle demeanor, her voice softening the harsh realities faced by Moan, recalling her affectionate naming. Moan contemplates his strategic plans against the Yi royal family, calculating future gains while reflecting on the past decisions that led him here. Imakshwan holds a bottle, contemplating his decision not to kill just yet, deeming the person valuable for the moment. He observes a chained figure, considering using them to create a new mask, noting how faces change over time. The scene transitions to the next morning at the training ground, with the sun rising over a traditional building. Tien, shown yawning, regrets agreeing to supervise sword practice, finding it mundane now that it's too late to decline. Kiki peeks around a corner, addressing Tien as second brother, catching his attention. Tien, surprised, questions why little Kiki has come to the training ground, coughing to clear his throat. Kiki explains that their eldest brother mentioned a martial arts training session involving young soldiers, which sparked her interest to watch. Tien realizes they've been tricked by their brother into helping with supervising, dismissing its significance. Kiki, holding a cat, explains that their eldest brother asked her to care for the cat, Nyan, for the day while he travels. They lament being tricked into various tasks by their brother, with Kiki humorously wishing to sew up one of his eyes while Tien tries to remain calm. Despite feeling tricked, Tien is content with Kiki's company and expresses he's not lonely. Kiki apologizes, stating she has more important things to do than simply watch the event unfold. Reflecting on the original storyline, Kiki recalls a plot where the male lead, Yan Cheng, was bullied in hopes to meet him at the training ground. She decides she must first get Tien to leave her alone to have any chance of meeting or talking with the male lead. Kiki asks Tien to hold Nyan while she pretends to find a place to change clothes behind the mountain. Tien agrees, telling her he'll send a maid to accompany her for assistance. Another character offers to guide Kiki to the tents set for changing and using the bathroom, reassuring her. Kiki requests privacy while she goes into a tent to change, telling the maid to wait outside. Inside the tent, Kiki notices its instability, considering if she can escape through the back. Attempting to squeeze through the tent, Kiki finds herself stuck and wonders if she has gained weight, feeling embarrassed. She realizes she can't ask the maid for help without revealing her real intentions, leaving her in a predicament. Resigned to her situation, Kiki contemplates waiting until she gets thinner from hunger to escape. Unexpectedly, someone approaches and Kiki nervously asks who it is. Recognizing Liu Ji, Kiki pleads for help while remaining stuck in the tent. Liu Ji, amused, assures her to stop struggling as he believes in her, despite her worries about eating too much. Liu Ji asks her to step back, but Kiki protests she's already tried and failed to make it work. Liu Ji reassures her not to cry and tells her he's thinking of a solution. He discreetly helps her, telling her to hurry as it's uncomfortable for her. Kiki quietly warns Liu Ji that there's a maid guarding the door, expressing concern. Liu Ji confidently enters, dismissing concerns about propriety, asking the maid to step aside, revealing his rank as a justification. Cece stands with a puzzled look, questioning why people let someone in so easily. Cece calls out to Liu Ji, wondering if he's inside. While walking, Cece reflects on how easily Liu Ji was allowed to enter, suspecting the maid found him attractive. Cece and Liu Ji are outside. She recalls that she was blocked from entering and remarks that he had to knock the maid out. Liu Ji tells Cece not to move as he attends to something. Liu Ji explains how the scent bag affects movement, suggesting Cece should lean toward her back leg. Liu Ji, holding a small object, instructs Cece to try again. Cece notices the space around her seems to widen. Cece finally frees herself and expresses relief, resting against Liu Ji. Cece vows never to crawl through a dog hole in the future. Liu Ji coughs, and Cece notices something peculiar about him. Cece feels grateful towards Liu Ji, not understanding his blush. Liu Ji suggests returning to the martial arts training ground, and Cece agrees. Cece ponders behind the mountain, questioning if she missed a significant event while stuck. A voice asks Liu Ji if someone is okay amid a serene landscape. Liu Ji reassures that he used minimal force and the person will awaken shortly. Cece grabs Liu Ji's arm, indicating she is searching for someone. Internally, Cece worries about accidentally revealing too much truth. Liu Ji questions Cece on whom she seeks, amid soldiers at the training ground. Cece nervously recalls the male lead, possibly using the name Quan Ju Asai. Cece inquires if Liu Ji knows all the young soldiers at the training ground. Liu Ji coldly confirms he can recognize most soldiers, asking Cece whom she wishes to find. Cece mentions the name Quan Ju Asai, but Liu Ji responds he does not know him. Cece questions whether Liu Ji has ever heard of the name, or if the person simply isn't there. Liu Ji asserts that the name does not exist in the army list, challenging Cece's disbelief. Cece expresses belief in Liu Ji, though she internally worries about the storyline deviating. Cece contemplates the original storyline where a corpse was disguised, pondering alternatives. Reflecting on the past, Cece imagines a different fate for Yi Ki. Thinking about survival beyond 6 years, Cece remembers Q Uncle, contemplating his role. Cece envisions Q Uncle in the original story, postulating why his life is spared in current events. A serious Moan unfolds as Cece reflects on a grim realization. These clues all converge on one point that shouldn't be. People destined to die are surviving, while those meant to live are being put in danger. Cece stands under a starry sky, pondering the true identity of the corpse labeled as Yan Cheng, the male lead in this story. The uncertainty of the situation troubles her. The lifeless form of a young man lies on a table, covered by a sheet. Cece questions if her existence has altered the storyline, inadvertently causing the death of the male lead. A light-hearted scene outside features Moan lounging under a tree. He casually remarks on his fortune, while Cece stands nearby, bemused by his relaxed demeanor. Moan approaches Cece, checking her forehead. She seems puzzled by his concern as he questions why she appeared to act so erratically, despite showing no signs of fever. Moan stays silent, arms crossed, as Cece tries to make sense of her thoughts. The weight of her actions bears heavily on her mind, contemplating how she had affected powerful dynasties. Looking at her intently, Moan points out that the person she seeks is unable to come and wonders if this disappoints her. His question lingers as Cece contemplates the implications. Cece denies being upset, reasoning positively that the male lead's death means she no longer needs to fear his vengeance. Her mind races through her changing reality and the balance of safety around her. Standing together, Cece reassures herself that those she cares about will remain unharmed now that certain threats have been eliminated. She feels a sense of relief alongside Moan. Moan playfully taps Cece on the head, curious about her focused gaze. Her thoughts, however, remain unspoken as she tries to express what truly occupies her mind. Cece dismisses her gaze on Moan with a simple response, then energetically suggests they move on. The pair heads off, ready to confront whatever awaits them next. The scene shifts to a new day in a serene royal reading room, setting the stage for the next chapter of events, implying the tranquil start of the morning routine. An acquaintance, possibly an old friend dressed in regal red, teasingly questions where Cece, the little mouse, has come from. His demeanor is playful, setting a new tone. The man suggests Cece feels hungry and encourages her not to sneak around when she wants something. He expresses concern about disturbing his work, hinting at a familiar and caring relationship. Cece joyfully agrees to sit and eat, delighted by the company and the offer of food. The atmosphere is light and filled with mutual affection. As Cece settles in, an advisor enters, seeking an audience with the man in regal attire. Permission is granted, indicating a transition to a more formal interaction. The advisor approaches with respect towards the imperial figure, while Cece remains engrossed in the unfolding scene, implying her familiarity with the court etiquette. Cece recognizes the advisor as the one who had previously taken her elder sister away. She recalls his name, Yin, unsure why his presence now feels significant. As she ponders, Cece remembers Yin's role in the original storyline, realizing he was once a vital character. Thoughts churn as she recalls fleeting impressions from the past. The advisor, Yin stands with poise, his long silver hair reflecting wisdom and age, introducing a significant character whose history is intertwined with others. Cece reflects on Yin's limited portrayal in the original narrative, primarily focusing on his untimely demise. She contemplates the author's intentions and gaps in his story. A vivid memory emerges, detailing a dramatic moment after a royal marriage, leading to a tragic turn of events. The visual storytelling weaves intensity into the narrative. The image transitions to the battlefield, highlighting Yin's return to the capital, covered in battle scars. His bloody presence symbolizes unresolved conflict. Yin abruptly stops outside a princely mansion, poised on horseback. He respects the boundaries, suggesting a reason for his hesitation and underlining his tragic fate. The story unfolds with the revelation of Yin's death from injuries unrecognized by many. His untold demise at a symbolic door, hung with white silk, adds to the mystery. Cece introspects upon reading the book, realizing deeper truths about Yin and the hidden layers behind his story. The narrative conveys her personal journey of understanding. The imagery returns to a tender moment of first love, the blossom of young affection between characters, symbolically depicted through vibrant blossoms. Yin Juking becomes captivated by his youthful disciple, unable to resist the bond they share. The blossoming tree metaphor represents growth and deep-seated feelings. The narrative introduces a new subplot with the impending marriage of someone dear to Yin Juking. The mention of marriage ties relationships and brewing emotions. Yin Juking expresses melancholic reflection about the growth of his love, equating it to a peach blossom tree destined to drift away with the wind, laden with blossoming emotions. Moan reflects on how Shang has liked someone for many years, with thoughts lingering on recent events. With the peach blossom tree deeply rooted in his heart, the removal is impossible. He gives his blessings for the wedding, noting its good news before heading to the battlefield. The narration explains how the little princess has grown, and her thoughts are often occupied with the nostalgia of not seeing someone. She has reached the age where love begins to flourish. The scene depicts a ceremonial procession, revealing that the person heading the procession is not the one she holds affection for. Moan notices the redness in the eyes of the seventh princess, expressing gentle concern. Sixi assures that the incense smoke in her father's palace caused her eyes to be red, dismissing it as nothing serious. Sixi is deeply confused, pondering over who might be a suitable match for her third sister. Moan decides that the incense in the palace should no longer be burnt in the future, addressing a staff member who agrees. Preparations for the blessing ceremony during the spring hunting festival, entrusted by the majesty, are reported completed. Sixi tugs at Tien's sleeve as she addresses him with a request. Sixi asks if she can participate in the spring hunting festival, her excitement evident. Tien gently tells Sixi she is still too young for the festival, suggesting she wait a few more years. Sixi wonders aloud if her elder sister won't be attending the festival either. Moan explains that participating requires one to be at least 10 years old, addressing royalty and minister descendants. Sixi laments being the youngest, as her siblings will soon reach the eligible age while she's not yet 7. Sixi expresses her desire to join, feeling left alone in the palace when others go, making her feel unbearable. Tien points out the necessity of horseback riding for hunting, hinting at Sixi's short stature. Tien proposes that if Sixi can explain why she wants to participate, he might agree to let her go hunting. Sixi is thrilled at the chance to explain, hopeful about joining the event. She ponders her short height, wondering aloud what she could possibly accomplish. Moan teasingly suggests that she could go to pick mushrooms. Sixi is delighted, exclaiming she could indeed pick mushrooms. Tien agrees, permitting her to join the event with a gentle smile. 3 days later, at Q Uncle's mansion, there's a light-hearted discussion about picking mushrooms. An unknown figure praises the cleverness of the mushroom-picking reason. Over a meal, Sixi confirms that her father agreed to her participation, sharing the news with excitement. She reveals her father hesitated initially, but agreed for her safety by allowing a sibling to join her. Another family member is advised to put on a coat, a reminder of the upcoming hunting event and the weather conditions. As Sixi receives a warm embrace, the elder notes how much she has grown over time. They laugh, acknowledging her weight gain jokingly as he almost struggles to carry her. Sixu sits with a frustrated expression, thinking about her size and how she can't fit through a small hole, her hands fiddling with her dress as rabbits surround her playfully. Tien consoles Sixu, telling her she is not fat but has grown up, while gently rubbing her head adorned with pink flowers. Sixu, feeling mocked, demands that Tien stop laughing at her, her cheeks flushed with irritation as Tien promises not to laugh anymore. Curious, Sixu points at Tien's neck, asking what is wrong with it. Tien appears puzzled, noting his neck is red and wondering if it's a bug bite, pondering its cause. Tien seems to recall something as he speculates that the neck mark might be from the previous night. Trying to cover up his discomfort, Tien assures Sixu that it's just a mosquito bite while they stand together in the room, accented with droplets showing tension. Sixu suggests applying an ointment as Tien nods. Accepting her advice, they share a moment of light-hearted awkwardness. Sixu notices someone unfamiliar in the room and deduces by the attire that he might be a guard from Ninth Uncle's palace. Ming, identified as Moan's confidant, enters with a message that Lord Jiang of the Ministry of Revenue is waiting, introducing a new event. Sixu internally comments on Ming Yan's handsome appearance, intrigued by his knowledge of specific preferences, while eyeing the peach blossom pastry cake. Tien, suddenly stern, questions Ming Yan's presence, holding Sixu protectively while showcasing authority. Ming Yan remains unfazed, reminding Tien of Lord Zheng's visit, implying arrangements need attention. Tien gently instructs Sixu to wait while he handles matters, indicating his return soon, leaving her with a sense of understanding. Alone, Sixu reflects on Tien's peculiar behavior, finding it strange and out of character, raising her concerns. Sixu joyfully anticipates having peach blossom pastry cake, expressing her delight with energetic flair. Sixu decides she will save the pastry for ninth uncle, deciding it's better to share while standing in the sunlit room. Tien, accompanied by Ming Yan, asks about Lord Zheng's whereabouts, showing his readiness and focus on his duties. Ming Yan casually suggests Lord Zheng might still be at his palace, leaving some ambiguity while maintaining his composure. Tien, realizing Ming Yan's deceit, confronts him with anger, demanding truthfulness. Ming Yan, slightly marked from last night, receives Tien's reprimand for not keeping a low profile, hinting at past interactions. Ming Yan apologizes, attributing his lapse to an uncontrolled moment the night before, suggesting complexities in their relationship. Tien, clearly frustrated, demands distance from Ming Yan while facing personal turmoil and unresolved issues. Ming Yan warns Tien against repeating previous mistakes with a light-hearted tone suggesting familiarity and shared history. Sixu yawns, wondering why ninth uncle isn't back yet, speculating if something delayed him while seated at the table. Planning to return, Sixu decides she will head back, eager to find out more details, setting off with cheerful determination. Ming Yan intercepts Sixu, gently explaining the need to escort her back to the palace, as he was tasked with ensuring her safe return. Sixu objects to being carried, asserting her independence, but Ming Yan lifts her effortlessly, emphasizing his responsibility and care. Ming Yan reiterates the necessity of carrying Sixu, hinting at consequences if she resists, while maintaining a polite but firm demeanor. Sixu resigns to Ming Yan's insistence, recognizing that sometimes wisdom lies in choosing battles wisely and allowing circumstances to guide actions. Moan and CQ discuss travel plans, ensuring the princess's safety is prioritized. Moan acknowledges the instructions seriously, emphasizing understanding. CQ ponders over a man's distinguished appearance. She's puzzled why the man isn't mentioned in the original text of her sources. CQ questions the connection between the man and ninth uncle, wondering about his role in the imperial court. She notes that the man is aligned with ninth uncle, indicating non-affiliation with the empress's side. CQ decides to observe the man without forming immediate conclusions. The scene shifts to Zhonghua Palace, setting the timeline to 3 days before the spring hunt. CQ is concerned about the upcoming spring hunt and considers convincing Liu Ji not to participate. An idea sparks, and she thinks about suggesting a mushroom-picking trip to deter Liu Ji from hunting. Liu Ji focuses on his archery practice, unaware of CQ's presence as she approaches him. CQ, now closer, expresses that she misses him, drawing his attention. Liu Ji is startled by her admission, causing him to momentarily lose grip of his bow. CQ quickly clarifies her statement was an attempt to start a discussion they should have tomorrow. Liu Ji, regaining his composure, kneels to listen, encouraging CQ to share her thoughts. CQ inquires about Liu Ji's archery practice, suspecting it is in preparation for the spring hunt. Liu Ji confirms her suspicion. CQ hesitantly suggests a scenario where he might have to abandon the hunt due to unforeseen circumstances. Liu Ji questions what these circumstances might entail, showing mild curiosity. CQ humorously suggests that Liu Ji might end up picking mushrooms with someone instead. Liu Ji's response depends on the company he'll have during mushroom picking. CQ coyly asks what if the companion were her. Liu Ji cheekily questions the benefit of picking mushrooms with CQ, seeking her reasoning. CQ offers the mushrooms she picks as her contribution, hoping it suffices. Transforming the scene to a cartoon-like depiction, she portrays herself as a worried bunny, while Liu Ji appears as a skeptical wolf. Liu Ji states his dislike for eating mushrooms, lightly dismissing the idea. CQ suggests selling the mushrooms for candied haws, giving an alternative to using them herself. Liu Ji, eating, hints at the possibility of exchanging candied haws for someone with a sweet tooth, suggesting CQ. CQ shyly demurs, suggesting Liu Ji could trade the mushrooms for gifts for a girl he likes. Liu Ji, amused, remarks on CQ's tendency to suggest ideas for him, and questions what kind of gifts the girl would want in the future. Q enthusiastically recommends books and stinky tofu, offering to introduce him to the latest book releases. Embarrassed CQ decides to stop suggesting, encouraging Liu Ji to directly inquire about such preferences in the future. Liu Ji, with a friendly demeanor, assures CQ he won't tease her further. CQ reflects on how long it's been since she's seen Liu Ji smile so openly, feeling a longing within herself. Moan gently holds C's face, thinking about how much they wish to maintain this smile forever. C teases Moan, saying they look very handsome when smiling and encourages them to smile more in the future. C comments on Moan's pleasant scent, noting that it's different from honey locust, followed by Moan expressing a sense of doom. Moan reflects internally about their impending doom, mentioning Yan Cheng. Moan asks C not to come so close suddenly, suggesting it's dangerous. C feels puzzled at Moan's reaction, wondering why they seem angry again. C questions whether they did something wrong, but Moan reassures that it's not them who are the problem. C accuses Moan of deceit, insinuating that they are not being truthful. Moan, overhearing C's thoughts, acknowledges that they heard them. C appears concerned that they might have spoken their thoughts out loud unknowingly. C, looking apologetic, asks for Moan's belief that they realized their mistake. Moan wonders if C has any additional tricks up their sleeve. Moan suggests ending the playful exchange and focusing on eating, with C agreeing. Moan advises C to eat slowly, acknowledging their agreement. C, while eating, recalls an incident with mushrooms, casting a worried look. Moan remembers the mushroom incident as well, commenting on its lasting memory. Moan lightly reprimands C not to talk while eating, offering to pick mushrooms with them later. The scenery shifts to a narrative setting, noting the passage of 3 days towards a spring hunt at the palace gate. C contemplates whether Liu Ji will accompany them in the carriage or choose to ride alone to Yuanjing Palace. C notices there is not enough room for additional people in the carriage, leading to a comedic realization. Someone calls out for Kiki, attempting to locate her within the carriage. A request is made to Kiki to help fit more items into the carriage. With a bit of confusion on her part, someone discreetly asks Kiki to hide an item until they reach the hunting ground, promising to recover it later. The request is emphasized with a threat not to lose the item, with Kiki silently reacting. A voice questions why someone hasn't mounted their horse yet, interrupting the prior exchange. Jiang Cheng appears, addressing a companion, who reacts by acknowledging the chaplain master. Jiang Cheng expresses a desire to ride their own horse, adding to the ongoing conversation. The chaplain master instructs to hold on tight as they prepare to proceed. With a gentle smile, the chaplain master reassures Jiang Cheng, who timidly agrees. Finally, the scene shifts, with a greeting directed towards the chaplain master as the carriage arrives. Riding together on a horse, Xi reflects on how only Yi Yun Chang can bring such obedience from the other, suggesting the unique bond they share. Kiki insists her belongings be kept safe, highlighting her concern over losing something important. Xi reassures Kiki about the safety of her stuff, even if it takes some effort to solve the situation. Pei Ziying enters, interrupting with a stern question, adding tension to the room. A moment of inspection occurs as Pei Ziying questions the modest amount of luggage Kiki has brought. Xi's puzzled thoughts reveal the discomfort of sharing cramped spaces, especially with company. Kiki, directly addressing Xi's potential discomfort, tries to reassure him, but he insists it's fine. Xi humorously acknowledges neither feels cramped. It's the other person's discomfort that is noticed. Xi observes Pei Ziying's distinct features, pondering why his neck appears fairer than his face. Kiki speculates it's likely due to Pei Ziying's neck not being exposed to sunlight, leading to an uneven skin tone. Questioning her own complexion, Kiki wonders if she should try sun exposure, urging Pei Ziying to pick mushrooms. Kiki, caught off guard, quickly explains her curiosity upon being questioned on her unusual scrutiny. A servant alerts about a sudden jolt experienced by the carriage due to a rock, asking about the passenger's state. Pei Ziying calmly assures the servant that everything is fine, easing the potential worry. Pei Ziying suggests adjustments for more comfort, and Kiki agrees, acknowledging the solution. Pei Ziying discovers an item, questioning if it belongs to Kiki, who appears flustered by the revelation. Kiki reveals the item belongs to Ye Yun Chang, burdened by guilt for hiding it and fearing blame. Pei Ziang queries if Kiki has yet explored the contents of the item, skeptical about her involvement. Kiki admits she hasn't seen it, still anxious about the possible trouble it could bring her. Pei Ziang identifies the book about spring hunting, intending to read it later, shifting focus from trouble to future plans. Pei Ziang acknowledges Kiki's innocence concerning the book's contents, providing some relief. Surprised by the book's presence, Kiki questions its origins, puzzled by Yi Yun Chang's secrecy about it. Pei Ziang firmly insists Kiki refrain from reading the book, indicating its unsuitability for her. Pei Ziang promises to return the book to Kiki when she's mature enough, emphasizing responsible handling. Alarmed, Kiki worries about Yi Yun Chang's potential wrath due to the missing item, pondering the consequences. Pei Ziang encourages Kiki to rest, considering the early hour and her evident anxiety. Kiki resolves to retrieve the book to avoid Yi Yun Chang's anger, strategizing her next steps. In a state of confusion and worry, Kiki contemplates potential actions to solve her predicament. Seeking comfort, Kiki admits to feeling cold while gaining warmth and reassurance through physical closeness. Pei Ziang resolves to embrace Kiki, providing needed reassurance amidst her wavering emotions. Moan gently holds Sisi, reminding her to stay still so he can hug her comfortably, surrounded by soft floral decorations. The peaceful courtyard of Wanjing Yuan is shown, with trees and bright sunlight streaming over the garden and the central building. Tien discusses the upcoming spring hunting ceremony with Sisi, explaining that attendees will chase a white deer with a red string around its neck as part of tradition. Sisi looks puzzled and asks for clarification on the significance of the white deer within the context of the event. Tien responds to Sisi, saying whoever shoots the deer first can ask a favor from the father, who would agree if in a good mood. Tien humorously points out the anticipation of civil servants, generals, and princes, all eager for the opportunity to participate in the event. Tien continues to explain to Sisi the chance to request the kings, noting the eager excitement shared by everyone involved. Song Yucheng has already started his preparations, prompting Tien to comment about uncertainty regarding Song Yucheng's intentions. Song Yucheng rides a horse confidently through the courtyard, echoing the words "Skolo" with a strong presence. Tien asks Sisi if an item is still at her place, to which Sisi responds affirmatively, albeit with lingering uncertainty. Tien discovers that the item is gone, both she and Sisi reacting with surprise at the unexpected revelation. Moan appears with the missing item, expressing suspicion about being deceived earlier, creating a tense moment. Tien pleads for the return of the book, asserting her maturity enough to read it, despite her apologies and explanations. Moan teasingly suggests Jing try to steal it back, with a playful attitude as they prepared to act. Sisi covers her eyes, encouraging a playful attack which adds to the lively atmosphere among the group. Jing feels inadequate hearing Tien's remark, yet admits to carrying a medicine box as they converse. Jing appears curious as to why Tien desires the medicine box, wondering if she feels unwell. Tien signals to apply medicine, acknowledging that she might have hit Jing too hard earlier in her excitement. Tien applies a soothing touch, directing her words towards Jing with a light-hearted note on handling pain. Moan instructs Sisi to go pick mushrooms under the clear blue sky, transitioning them toward a quieter task. Moan inquires about Sisi's intentions with the collected mushrooms, sensing the importance of addressing it carefully. Sisi innocently suggests eating the mushrooms, leaving Moan perplexed about what to do next. Moan urgently identifies the mushrooms as amanita, warning Sisi about their deadly nature, emphasizing the gravity of their situation. Sisi, trembling, playfully questions Moan on how he knows the mushrooms are poisonous, suspecting he tasted them before. Moan reminisces about a time of survival when desperation led him to eat anything to live, revealing a personal history. Admitting to never having tasted the mushrooms, Moan shares hearsay knowledge instead, pondering their next steps together. Moan turns to Sisi, posing the question of action, clearly seeking her input amid the light of day. Sisi confesses playfully to having tried one, much to Moan's surprise, adding to the growing tension. Moan urgently commands Sisi to vomit, tapping rapidly, hoping to prevent any danger from the poisonous mushroom. Moan steps back, slightly exasperated, as Sisi is left to handle the situation, furthering his thoughts on the day's chaos. Moan finds tiny colorful people on Julian's head as she searches for them to help chase them away. Julian plays with Mohan's hair, teasing him about leaving her alone, but knowing he won't. Juin hugs Moan, feeling emotionally attached and not wanting to be left alone. Moan comments on Juin's favored and arrogant demeanor, reflecting on their bond. Juin is startled by the yellow little person, exclaiming for it to come down from Mohan's head. Juin decides to make a nest for the little yellow person to blend in with the other tiny people. Juin and Moan notice a nearby tent, curious about whose it might be. Juin suggests it might be Uncle Q's tent and considers going there to greet him. Moan advises Juin to run slowly while she joyfully hurries towards the tent. Juin gleefully calls out to Uncle Q as she reaches the tent, with Moan following behind. Inside the tent, someone is annoyed and threatens forgiveness if Juin is hurt, causing Juin to question if there are tiny people there too. Uncle Q appears, asking why they came, showing curiosity about their visit. Juin and Moan are taken aback, wondering if they imagine hearing something inside the tent. Moan tells Uncle Q they have no problems and decide to leave, covering Juin's mouth to prevent further remarks. Inside, a muffled voice mentions tiny people, catching the attention of those outside. Uncle Q remains composed, intending to continue with whatever he was doing before. Juin reflects on another presence inside Uncle Q's tent, feeling uneasy about it. Moan assures Juin that she might have imagined the little people and encourages her to live peacefully with them. Moan emphasizes that hallucinations are common and there's no need to share with others to make them laugh. Juin, feeling vulnerable, confesses to Moan about feeling foolishly enchanted to the point of being stupid. Juin asks Moan humorously if the white deer is funny, wiping away her tears. Moan points out the first target of the spring hunt, inquiring if Juin also sees it. Moan warns Juin about the deer's speed, faster than an arrow and apt to scare away. Juin curiously asks the deer if it's tasty, while Moan looks surprised by her unusual question. Moan questions Juin's intent, unsure if she would truly consider eating the deer. Juin notes the deer is injured and suggests they heal it first before making any decisions about eating. Moan explains that possessing the deer could grant immense power and wealth by appealing to the king. Juin confidently states she doesn't need the deer to get what she wants, showing her independence. Moan reflects on how Juin has changed, while contemplating if she truly has or if it's just his perception. Moan concludes that Juin has always been consistent in her behavior, despite how others might perceive it. Chenjin expresses surprise at the presence of the 6th prince and 7th princess while on horseback, holding a bow. Chenjin pulls back an arrow on his bow, asking the others to stay away, feeling insulted. Tien asks if someone desires the deer, standing with determination. Chenjin, smiling slyly, states the importance of the deer as it is a rare opportunity. Tien questions what is to be requested from Yi Ji Yao if the deer is desired. Chenjin on horseback reveals that it's inconvenient to disclose his intentions, with Siju watching with a deer. Tien challenges Chenjin about not handing over the deer. Chenjin insists he must secure the deer today, ready to use his arrow if needed. Tien doubts Chenjin's threat, questioning his reliance on just an arrow. Tien dares Chenjin to proceed, as Chenjin cautiously steps back. Chenjin admits defeat, requesting forgiveness and expressing a desire to cease competing. Tien dismisses Chenjin casually, indicating for him to leave. Chenjin inquires if the royalty desires the deer as well, kneeling and focused. Chenjin assumes that his desires align with those of the royalty. Tien questions whether Chenjin feels deserving of the deer. Chenjin acknowledges some things are beyond control despite his confidence. Tien urges Chenjin to pursue his desires, jesting about their ongoing contest, as Siju observes curiously. Chenjin, preparing to act, tells Tien to watch as he will proceed, his expression sly. Siju, worried, speculates about Chenjin's intentions, suspecting hidden motives. Tien, confident, doubts Chenjin's ability to succeed as he departs. Siju observes Tien's frustration aimed at Chenjin's pursuit of the deer. Tien reassures Siju, who appears startled, clarifying there's no need for fear. Siju nervously mentions the reactions of small creatures around, feeling them shiver. Tien comforts Siju, agreeing not to frighten her companions anymore, deciding to head back with the white deer. Siju notes having gathered little, while Tien jests about their outing being successful with companions and a deer, as they walk under the sunset. With excitement, Siju's sister arrives, showcasing a pair of rabbits as a gift for her. Overjoyed, Siju admires the rabbits, humorously asking if seasonings were brought as well. Siju's sister suggests keeping the rabbits as pets instead of making a dish, noting their families. Siju playfully considers cooking the rabbits together, contrasting her sister who is slightly irritated. Siju's sister reminds her about a package from before, asking if it's needed, as they stand near a table filled with various items. A girl is holding a rabbit plush, asking someone about a jar, concerned if it was broken. The sane girl instructs to pay respects to their father, implying it's something important. The father is being admired by his child for apparently hunting a gray wolf, as they request to leave. The father's hand gestures permission to leave, signaling approval. The girl in pink indicates she'll wait in the tent, prompting curiosity from her sister. The girl contemplates if their earlier conversation was overheard by the father, feeling anxious about the potential consequences. The father acknowledges the girl for bringing back a white deer, an act he seems quite pleased with. There's a mention of a special favor to be given to whoever captures the white deer, a tradition in their spring hunt. The father asks what the girl wants as a reward, sparking contemplation in her. The girl repeats the question, appearing slightly confused about what she desires. She reflects on the value of the white deer and her indecision, pondering if a tea set might be a good choice. She expresses her wish for her father to remain healthy and live a long life, considering that her heart's desire. The father hints he is not easily manipulated, suspecting her intentions despite her genuine wish. The girl realizes the father is onto her thoughts, displaying surprise at his perception. She humorously wonders if the father's intelligence increased from an earlier incident. She questions whether the father's smartness is a result of drinking, curious about its effects. The girl decides on something and shares her realization with the father. The father generously offers to give her whatever she desires as a birthday gift. The girl softly calls out to another character, Liu Ji, while holding a drink. The father reflects, feeling a disconnect with the girl who seems different from what he expected. The girl shows off her rabbit toys to Liu Ji, asking for his opinion on their cuteness. Liu Ji responds, but it seems his focus isn't on the rabbits. Liu Ji clarifies his comment was not about the rabbits, prompting curiosity. The girl asks Liu Ji to repeat what he said, intrigued by his statement. Liu Ji begins to repeat his words, a bit more seriously. He admits that his comment on cuteness did not refer to the rabbits, implying something deeper. The girl stands with the rabbits, overwhelmed by the situation. Despite being young, she reflects with maturity, feeling internally conflicted. She considers Liu Ji's words as strange, contemplating their deeper meaning. Determined to avoid confusion, she decides to stay with her own thoughts, wary of being influenced. Moan leans close to Sisi, catching her by surprise as she focuses intently ahead. In the forest clearing, rabbits are seen dashing away. Sisi is dismayed at the sight, lamenting the escape of her rabbit. With a determined look, Sisi demands compensation for her rabbit, expressing her irritation. Tien softly reassures Sisi, offering to compensate for her loss, while she looks up at him expectantly. Sisi dismisses Tien's offer, advising him to stop chasing her around. She decides she no longer wants the rabbit, seeming frustrated. Sisi offers to take Liu Ji back, noting that he seems sleepy, and suggests returning to the tent to rest. Sisi reflects on Liu Ji's condition, realizing that drinking doesn't make everyone smarter, hinting at his temporary lack of clarity. Liu Ji insists that he is not sleepy, while Sisi seems to struggle with pulling him along, demonstrating his sense of righteousness. Sisi asks Liu Ji what his intentions are again, looking somewhat confused by his actions. In an unexpected turn, Liu Ji suggests catching a rabbit, leaving Sisi speechless. Liu Ji agrees to go back to the tent, with Sisi holding onto a rabbit toy, promising to fulfill his request obediently. Sisi acknowledges Liu Ji's agreement and finds dealing with his drunken state challenging but satisfying in its resolution. Liu Ji advises Sisi to stop messing around and questions what else she wants to do, indicating the need for clarity. Alarmed, Liu Ji notices people nearby and alerts Sisi by covering her mouth, signaling the presence of others in the forest. Sisi questions the need for caution, believing that the forest, though vast, is protected by royal patrols. Despite Liu Ji's reassurances, she declares she isn't afraid. Liu Ji instructs Sisi to observe the individuals he has pointed out, drawing her attention to their silent exchange. The figures in the forest, Ruoan and Song Yu Cheng, discuss an important matter that concerns them both. Sisi realizes who the individuals are, identifying Song Yu Cheng, and contemplating his actions concerning a childhood sweetheart. Song Yu-cheng attempts to justify his intentions by explaining that his actions were meant for a greater purpose involving marriage. Cece is shocked by the revelation that Song Yu-cheng's objective was to seek marriage to the princess. Cece reflects on the possibility of Song Yu-cheng's plans being detrimental to Ye Yun-chang, stirring concern within her. Liu Jie's demeanor shifts, and Cece questions why his expression has turned so serious, trying to understand the gravity of the situation. The other woman, conflicted, voices her mistrust toward Chang Ji, expressing doubt about maintaining their childhood connection should he marry the princess. Chang Ji insists he has his own plans and reassures the other woman, attempting to dispel her concerns. Nevertheless, the other woman remains skeptical, accusing Chang Ji of insincerity regarding his future intentions. Chang Ji comforts her, advising calmness due to her frail condition after a past incident, stressing the importance of taking care of herself. Chang Ji prepares to carry the woman to the imperial physician, promising to ensure her well-being and offering reassurance. Chang Ji pledges that once he marries the princess, she will no longer suffer from illness, offering a vision of hope. Memories flash by, revealing how the woman had fallen into the water, resulting in a high fever. Cece contemplates the lingering effects of the fever that impacted the woman's health, deep in thought about the situation. Yi Yun-chang and Qi discuss the situation. Song Yu-cheng intends to marry Yi Yun-chang for family prosperity and to cure Ruoan's illness by taking her heart and blood. Qi realizes in a reflective moment that her actions have led to unintended consequences, repeating to herself what seems to be a realization. She admits to herself that her anger led to Jian Qian's misfortune, realizing she is the true culprit. Yi Mohan approaches Qi, comforting her quietly, indicating she shouldn't dwell too much on her thoughts. Qi responds quietly, agreeing not to overthink, feeling somewhat reassured by Yi Mohan's presence. Yi Mohan tells Qi to keep her eyes closed, creating a sense of trust. Qi, slightly curious, wonders about his intentions. As Qi appears to be tearing up, Yi Mohan questions her condition. Qi denies crying, blaming the dry air for her eyes' condition. Qi insists that being tied up is uncomfortable and promises not to run away, suggesting Yi Mohan untie her. Yi Mohan checks Qi's wrist, concerned if it's hurting. A tender moment passes between them. Yi Mohan offers to soothe her pain, gently tending to her wrist, while Qi notices his lack of sobriety. He reassures her the pain will subside, treating her hand with care. Qi tells him not to be overly polite. Qi reflects on Yi Mohan's current state, noting his carelessness and slight confusion. Yi Mohan casually asks Qi why she's not heading back to the tent, wondering where she plans to go now. Qi simply states she's hungry, echoing Yi Mohan's own hunger, setting a light-hearted tone. Yi Mohan suggests going to the river, preparing to catch some fish despite Qi's hesitations. On alert, Qi quickly cautions Yi Mohan against going into the river, fearing for his safety. She worries about handling potential dangers, feeling an internal struggle on how she could help if something goes wrong. Qi tries to reason with Yi Mohan about the coldness of both the weather and the river, pleading for caution. Arguing about the need to catch fish, Qi points out the available food in the tent, questioning the necessity of fish. Yi Mohan nonchalantly mentions someone's fondness for eating as they prepared to catch fish by the riverbank. Qi remarks on Yi Mohan's determination to fish despite consuming wine earlier, offering a playful challenge. Yi Mohan carries Qi while she playfully protests, committed to facing whatever is in the water with him. Finally, Yi Mohan stops the playful struggle, reassuring Qi, stating neither will enter the water. Standing by the river, they both contemplate catching fish, with Qi looking at Yi Mohan, who affirms they will continue. Yi Mohan starts fishing, which draws a skeptical yet hopeful look from Qi, questioning the feasibility of the task. Qi laughs off the fish's unexpected capture, deeming it too easy and doubting its sufficiency for their meal. Holding a fresh catch, Yi Mohan questions Qi if the fish is now adequate playful ease between them. Qi, reluctantly agreeing, teases about capturing the fish's entire lineage, hinting at Yi Mohan's determination. The dawn breaks and their camp is peaceful, indicating the start of a new day after the night's fishing endeavor. Qi remembers yesterday's mushroom-picking adventure, mentally preparing for the upcoming hunt by strategizing. Qi is nestled under a blanket, thinking about going hunting and exploring the world with Yi Mohan. Yi Mohan, spotting a protruding bump under the blanket, inquires about what Kai is up to. Kikai emerges, admitting she came to see Mohan's appearance in armor and on horseback. Mohan waves his hand, suggesting Kiki share her thoughts now that she has seen him. Kiki blushes, acknowledging that Mohan looks very beautiful. Mohan notes that her face suggests she has something to ask, inviting her to speak openly. Kiki expresses her desire to go hunting with Mohan. She hesitantly asks if it's possible for her to join the hunt. Mohan agrees but mentions he has one condition for her participation. Kiki is curious about the condition, feeling a sense of foreboding. Dressed for hunting, Kiki asks who's accompanying her on horseback. A servant informs Kiki that His Majesty Mohan will personally take her hunting. Mohan questions if she is unhappy about hunting with him. Kiki feigns contentment, waving her hand and internally lamenting her missed mountain adventures. Mohan, riding with Kiki, asks if she's scared since she seems nervous on the horse. Kiki insists she is not afraid, attempting to maintain her composure. Mohan dismisses the entourage, announcing a reward for the best hunter. Kiki, nestled with Mohan, asks if they should join the others. Mohan recalls a waterfall surrounded by colorful flowers and suggests visiting it. Kiki realizes their destination is to see the flowers, which surprises her. Excited, Kiki asks Mohan to make the horse go faster, eager to see the flowers. Suddenly, an enemy appears, threatening Mohan and demanding his life.